be giving satisfactory explanations, then the disciplinary process will continue from there, in addition to those who may not have responded within the time that they were given by the vice chairman of the party. Now, nobody will have an excuse on Tuesday. Let everybody stand up to be counted.
ODM's move to take action against MPs who allegedly betrayed the party has been condemned by President William Ruto.
Wacheni Kiingereza mingi nini sijui umeandikiwa barua na sijui chama gani. Wewe unaandikiwa barua na chama na hawa wenye walikupatia kura barua yao umesoma? Hawa ambao wanataka kazi barua yao umesoma? Soma barua ya wale watu wamekuajiri, my friend. Na hawa watu wamekuajiri wanataka ajira.
Sifuna has also emphasized the need for the bill to be rejected in Parliament, saying that Kenyans are going through a difficult time due to the high cost of living. And the government will conduct the third phase of the post-mortem exercise on 94 bodies of the victims of the Shakahola starvation cult from today to ease congestion at the Malindi Sub-County Hospital mortuary. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki said that so far the government has exhumed 336 bodies in Shakahola forest, which sits at the expansive Chakama Ranch, since the exercise began.
Hivi sasa tumetoa katika awamu ya 3 miili 94 na pia tumesimamisha kutoka kesho. Hatutaendelea na ile kazi ya kutafuta maiti kwa sababu tungetaka kwanza hiyo miili 94 ifanywe upasuaji ili tuwe na nafasi katika kile chumba cha kuhifadhi maiti katika hospitali ya wilaya ya Malindi.
The prosecution has indicated it intends to charge Paul Mackenzie with genocide and other related charges. The EACC maintained that the government will do everything in its power to make sure every victim is accounted for. Meanwhile, the government will not relent in its quest to wipe out rogue pastors who use religion to prey on innocent victims. EACC Kindiki has said that while the government respects the freedom of worship and acknowledges the role played by a majority of religious leaders and organizations in spirituality nourishing their followers now whilst contributing to the development of programs in various sectors such as education and health, there was need to hold wayward religious leaders to account. He noted that religious extremism ranks in the list of national security threats. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
When you're impeached, you're impeached. When you're sentenced, you're sentenced.
Madam Chief Justice.
Until the sentence is set aside.
Ukibeba vitu kwa roho utakufa. If you carry things in your heart, you will die.
You've had the luxury of living for 50 years and you cannot still explain yourself. Surely. Oh my God.
The reason for which you went to school and then gathered experience, that reason must be paid for.
Oh, right.
Oh, okay.
This level.
Shape up or ship out.
Levels don't change.
No. Since I'm shipping up. You know my business partner here.
Shipping out.
Are we talking about the ship in the bathtub?
Or the ship man?
Emmanuel Talamu used to tell us a story of they were in school and they've been told to write composition about a ship. His classmate raises a hand. Teacher, are you talking about the ship or a ship goat?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
You tune into Kenya's biggest conversation. My name is Ramanya.
Amen.
So 1 hour is over?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It gets over.
Can you imagine
in 20 minutes?
What the big boys have also done?
I'm very proud of myself.
When you understand about partnership in politics, it's like the way marriage is these days. When you're looking for a wife, you're like, oh, maybe you can help me pay for fees as I pay for the rent.
Why should you have a lioness living in your bedroom?
I have to tell you a story. I went for a prayer meeting, which was called for the spouses of candidates for senators and governors. And when I got to the gate, the lady who was the security, she refused to, she's telling me, no. Leo tunataka wa mama. Leo ni wa mama. I'm telling her, no. She said, no, sio siku yenu. And I thought, there's a problem here, you know, because if it was a man, but this was a lady.
Good morning and welcome to Monday. All right, what does it have to offer? Going into well into the middle of the month, a little bit of traffic started on Jogger Road this morning and some of it seeping in from the Thika Superhighway. We'll see some of that get heavier towards the Pangani underpass. Not looking too bad right around Limuru Road. We'll keep an eye on that for now. It looks pretty good. You'll be able to get into the CBD without a headache. And also on the on North Airport Road, a little bit of traffic as you get towards the Eastern Bypass. And Jogger Road is also starting to pile up. We'll see that normally every morning. We'll keep an eye on things and see how Monday pans out. But for now, it doesn't look too bad. Spice of MKE on Twitter. Keep things coming this way as we keep things moving this morning.
Spice FM. Spice up your life. This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start.
Good morning and welcome to Monday. It is June 19th, 2023, and welcome to another morning of Kenya's biggest conversation. How are you doing today? And you wonder, am I by myself? So you may have to ask that question every now and again in terms of what's happening and where are people. All right, 10 after 6 and a wonderful Monday lined up for you today. Actually for all of us in terms of conversations that we will be having. All right, getting into it in terms of the conversations that we'll be having today. At 7 o'clock, we'll talk about... It is where? Here it is. At 7 o'clock today, we'll talk about Sarit turning 40. It's been an iconic experience for the last 40 years, and we'll look into all of the details surrounding that. At 8 o'clock, there's a proposal to amend the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act. Mbere North MP will join the Deputy Director of the Asset Recovery for EACC, Jeffrey Rocco, and Philip Kagushia will be with us at 8. And at 9 o'clock, Finance Bill 2023. What next for Kenyans? Tabitha Mutinda Munene, who's nominated Senator and Vice Chair of the Senate Finance and Budget Committee, will be with us at 9 o'clock. And it's at this juncture I say good morning to you two gentlemen. Good morning, Eric and CT.
Good morning, lady. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
How was your weekend?
Weekend was fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
Very good. What did you do?
Sorry?
What did you do?
I rested.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
A very good thing.
Rested some more.
That's a good thing. How about you, City?
I am fine also.
And your weekend?
Quiet.
Okay.
Very quiet.
Okay.
I did a lot of reading.
Reading galore.
I read.
Very good. It was reading galore. You're Panambaya. You're Panambaya. Even I had a good weekend. I traveled to Kilifi for memorial service of a friend who passed on a year ago. So we're marking 1 year since he departed. Edward Mochinga. And we had a very wonderful ceremony at a place called Sunguni in Kaloleni, Kilifi County, with family and friends. And came back yesterday. And along those places, met people who told me to say hello to you too. Watu wengi
sana,
wengi sana, watu wengi sana. Yeah, one of them I think is listening this morning. He's called Mike Mutiga. He says salimia hawa watu sana. There was somebody else. I sent you specific greetings to you from Dr. Hosea Arisi. You worked with him in what's that program called?
Faces.
The Faces program, yes. You worked with him in the Faces program. He said, yes, please salimia sana Mwalimu City. Now he works in Makueni County.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Dr. Arisi said hello to you.
Small world, isn't it?
Very small world, bwana. I met him in Makueni, though. I didn't meet him in Kilifi.
En route.
Yeah.
Ulipitia...
You know the normal things that I have to do.
No.
Eat
chapati at the place over there.
Mama mahali, nunua mahindi.
Did you pass by water?
No, I didn't pass by water this time.
Because the journey is never complete until one passes by water.
By water. This time I passed by Mavueni. Mavueni, there's a huge church there. What's it called? New Hope?
I wouldn't know.
New Hope.
I've never been to Mavueni.
So Mavueni is on the route, that route from Mariakani going to Kilifi. So use the back route.
Mariakani, you divert.
You go through Kaloleni.
Yes. Network ilikuwa imepotea.
Umeshika sasa.
I know exactly where you're talking about.
Unatokea Marerani pale.
Yes. Me when you said Mavueni, I was thinking of Ukambani.
Mavueni.
Yes.
Ayeti Mavueni. Tio Kamba. Ni Mavueni kule Kilifi. Yes.
You're very high.
Yes.
Up.
Yes.
Direction and feeling.
I'm actually agreeing with everything you're saying. Broaden the interpretation.
Kabisa?
Kabisa. Hakuna kitu mimi nimekataa hapo. High, yes.
High as well.
The seat is elevated, yes.
Okay.
Ednah is back and she's not happy. What's up?
I think it's Nairobi. You know, crossing the road in Nairobi. Crossing the road in Nairobi can be problematic.
There's issues. She's not happy, bana.
But also, let me tell you, this city can be confusing. When you go Okenda Mashinani, there are hardly any vehicles.
Then you come back.
Boom.
Horn.
You know, it's a shock to your entire system.
Yes.
Okay, there's Ednah. Ednah, are you happy?
Ednah is not happy.
So happy to have you back. And Eric is concerned that you're not happy. Dissuade him from this notion of belief.
Ednah just came in this morning at 4 a.m. and got into her little cubicle, the MCR, and sat there in that cold space.
She didn't even come and say good.
Didn't even come out to say hello.
She says good morning.
Imagine.
She didn't say it today.
Hi. Ednah, Sijali, these two shall pass. These two. Are we live streaming, Ednah? It's up. Very good. YouTube and Facebook. It's up. Say hello to Ednah. Tell her welcome back. Let's first take a look at the weather forecast. We'll acknowledge your presence shortly. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Yolanda Mulo and DJ Absolute. When the gang is together, you know it's sugar and spice. Great vibes, conversations, a lot of humor. I like to say we don't give an F, we give 3 Fs.
You and I are in this relationship. So it is me to tell you who we are.
When you ask her, how many guys have you been with? She's like, including you. If it's fun, it's funky, it's fresh, you're definitely going to catch it here. I don't know what you do every day from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock. If I were you, I'd tune in to Spice FM 94.4.
I want you on my team.
So does everybody else.
Yeah. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Morning, highs of 22 and lows of 13. We'll see highs of 26 and mostly cloudy conditions in Nakuru, currently at 15. It's cloudy at 13 in Nyeri, highs of 23, and we'll see highs of 24 in a cloudy Eldoret, currently at 14. It's 23 and cloudy in Mombasa, highs of 30, and highs of 30 in a partly cloudy Malindi at 25. It's cloudy at 20 in Kisumu, highs of 29, and 27 will be the high in a mostly cloudy Kakamega at 16. At 19, Kampala is cloudy, highs of 27 and lows of 18, and Dar es Salaam is cloudy at 23 with highs of 30. Mostly clear at 10 in Johannesburg, highs of 21 and lows of 3, and 25 and mostly cloudy in Lagos, highs of 30 and lows of 25. Kinshasa is cloudy at 22, highs of 30 and lows of 20 today. Let's look out into Beijing. Monday afternoon is raining at 26, highs of 27 today and lows of 19. Thunderstorms in Paris at 17, highs of 26, and it's cloudy at 16 in London, highs of 24. It's clear at 21 Sunday night in Paris, or rather in New York, coming into Monday, highs of 26 and lows of 17.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
19 minutes after 6.
Mornings done right. 94.
Start again.
Once again.
Brian
Otieno says, good morning. Recently, I met a Nigerian called Savior. I'm not surprised. Blessing, Savior, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. George Monari says, locked in to the amazing morning show. Good morning to you too. Good morning, CT, Eric, and the beautiful Ndu. Deep State says, good morning all. When are we seeing Mumbi? Mumbi has gone, Ednah has come. Or has this become like one of those Ruto promises that never materialize? Oh, you wanted to see her.
Like
Eric,
CC.
you told people that they will see Mumbi.
But that is not an impossibility. We will just make arrangements for Mumbi to appear in person.
To be seen?
Yes. Where's the problem?
There's no problem.
That's what I thought.
Put Ndu in the hot seat. What does that mean? Producers like to stay low-key, but they put in a lot of work behind the scenes. That is absolutely true. The unseen, thankless job. We cannot take that for granted at all. George Kamau, all of you, what's wrong with you today? Ndu looking all beautiful and what? Sassy.
Well.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, listening from Arusha, Minneapolis, Minnesota, in the house. Good morning, CT Nduko. My name is not Nduko.
It is.
And Eric, my name is not Nduko. It is not. George Kamau says he's waiting for this week's origin of Proverbs. CT did promise that they will be from Kenya this week.
They are.
Brian Otenyo is asking if we've won any awards. Now, Eric had promised that Mumbi will make her debut on video. Maneno ya ki people kuweka in the shadows tulikata. George Kamau says, waiting for this week's Proverbs and the country. We want to see Mumbi. What is it? CT said the Proverb will be from Kenya. People do not forget.
They are from Kenya.
Ati Mumbi ama tuweke sufuria kwa kichwa. Icelandic Overland says Arizona is in the house. Soulful says good morning from Dubai. Welcome, Ednah. While you were away, the hosts were coughing daily, and we had a ghost called Mumbi that came and went just like that.
Let's be yes.
Just take it easy. What's the problem, guys? John Matinga says CT, kwani kwenyu mashinani ni wapi?
Mashinani?
Kwenyu.
Mufuroni.
Tamu Muhoroni. In Muhoroni.
Sababu naitwa
Kisumu County.
Ednah.
Next question.
Hakuna ingine sahi. Watu wanasema please say hi to your constituents. She's even dancing for you. Papa Ogutu says he's tuning from a rainy Nakuru city. Sir George Gashoiri says good morning to everyone. Have a good day. We must go to work and manage the economy, indeed. Sophia Damari says good morning from Abu Dhabi. Good morning. Is traffic still part of us? Looking forward to seeing Kenyans going to work on scooters or bicycles. Good luck. Mutndung says, I'm here saluting all of you. Good morning, my people, says Ngash. And Moses Orinda is tuned in from Homa Bay. Quite a lot of you online today. We'll get round to you. Karibuni sana, and thanks for joining us this morning.
Everybody, welcome. City, take us to the country of Kenya.
Yes. Kenya is in East Africa. It neighbors Somalia, Ethiopia, Southern Sudan, Uganda, Tanzania, and the Indian Ocean.
Right.
Other details will follow.
Okay.
Try this bracelet. If it fits you, wear it. But if it hurts you, throw it away, no matter how shiny.
I agree.
Try this bracelet. If it fits you,
wear it.
Wear it.
If it hurts you, throw it away.
Throw it away.
No matter how shiny.
Allah.
I expect people are going to ask me which part of Kenya these proverbs come from. So my response is a simple one. In fact, it is a good question to ask. Why don't you tell me where you think this proverb comes from?
Yes.
Consider where it is that you hail from, as we say, and let us see if this proverb resonates with proverbs that come from the area that you are either domiciled in or you've come from originally.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Hiya, let's look at the headlines.
On the front page of the Standard this morning, taxes showdown or Ruto walkover. President William Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga are mobilizing legislators for an epic fight tomorrow in Parliament to approve or reject the finance bill. Will Ruto win in the House but face demos, as Azimio warned? C'est la question. Crackdown that made Mackenzie say he would be called terrorist is also covered there. Will Odwal case reset governor's deputy ties? That goes to the Senate soon. Hope in counties amid Treasury cuts on health cash. And NCIC boss wants a judge out of a case. All right, which one is that? We'll have a look at that on the front page of The Nation. NHIF heist, rogue hospitals have been exposed. That's an interesting story which you must look at. A very sad one coming out of Uganda that's making the headlines that we saw over the weekend. Anxious wait for news after 41 die in Uganda school raid. The victims, mostly students, were massacred at a secondary school near the border of the DRC by militants linked to a terrorist group. Very, very sad story there. I'll give you details of that. It continues with giving information about Shakahola and the cult of death. Revealed that the state knew about some burials that took place from Shakahola. Pass a finance bill to allow me fix Uhuru economic mess, Ruto urges MPs. If you don't pass the bill, I cannot fix the mess, he says. And the only way to do that is if you do what? Pass the bill.
Pass the bill. Pass the bill.
That's what I have.
That's what you have.
CT will tell us about the East African and the Star, eh? He'll tell us about the Business Daily and maybe something else.
Okay. Let me tell you about the Business Daily. Supreme Court's Moi land ruling sends banks into panic. Banks holding thousands of title deeds as collateral for loans have been thrown into a panic after a landmark Supreme Court ruling that handed back to the public a parcel of land that had changed hands several times from the late President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi since 1989. The country's apex court in April said not even the passage of over 30 years could stop grabbed public land that had undergone multiple successions in private hands reverting to the public. The ruling also raised the bar on the level of due diligence required from buyers and the need to comply with the land acquisition process, and it looks set to impact banks holding such title deeds as securities for loans worth billions of shillings. Get what they're saying? Now that we're talking about, it doesn't matter, it's 30 years, this land was sold, it was resold, it was resold, but originally, that mother thing, what's that mother document called? Whatever, at the lands ministry, it shows that this land was public land.
Another title.
And it was not originally and properly excised to become private land.
Meaning change of user was not properly executed.
All those things didn't happen. The original document, the blue, called blue something, document, still shows this is public land. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So banks are now going to be those ones worried. Second headline, Kenyans braced for tough July as Ruto taxes take effect. Higher. Tika headlines, Kenya Kwanza to spend 7 trillion shillings on debt payments in the next 5 years. 7 trillion shillings to pay debt in the next 5 years. KenGen eyes Tanzania geothermal deals. KenGen is eyeing drilling deals in Tanzania on what looks set to cement the firm as the leading geothermal power company across the continent. Managing Director Abraham Serem told the Business Daily that the firm is awaiting responses from the Tanzanian government for 2 projects whose value remains undisclosed. Remember, they're already in Ethiopia with the same. KDIC miles higher bank deposits over cover for SMEs. That's the other headline. Bwana Mzee. Hebu tuambie bwana hii.
The headline in the East African is a particularly interesting one because it has bang in the middle pictures of 4 finance ministers. Finance minister from Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, and then on the immediate right-hand side, what featured in the pictures that were representing the amounts that each country has as its, hey, God Almighty. Right.
What's wrong, Titi?
No. I'm just looking at the figures and words are getting stuck. Here we are estimating what it is we need to run our country, which is a good thing. Okay? In Kenya shillings, it is a colossal sum. In US dollars, it's an equally colossal sum. 26.3 billion US dollars. That's Kenya. Tanzania, $19.2 billion. Ile budget ile wajua. Okay? Uganda, 13.9 billion. Rwanda, 4.7 billion. DRC Congo, 16 billion. Burundi, 1.4 billion. This is in dollars. Southern Sudan, $1.39 billion. So, EACC.
So the economy on what period are we talking about? For a year? For
budget?
This is a budget
for 1 year.
Budget for the next year.
1 year. This budget year 2023-2024. East African Community, US dollars 103 million. Of all the economies in this region, Kenya has the highest. Highest.
Like almost double of the next.
Actually, if you do the maths,
you will combine a couple of countries.
Our budget is close to almost 40% of the sum total.
If you combine Rwanda, South Sudan,
just combine all of them.
Uganda and TZ.
That's Kenya's budget.
Yes. So, if you wanted to understand why it is that Kenya is where it is and why it is what it is, here we go.
You can now see it.
Well, yes, because these are the countries that haven't ground to a halt, and some of them have more people than we do, and one could argue, therefore they have more needs than we do, and yet. But I guess these questions that keep rising, the questions that keep rising and the answers that keep being given, the discussions we keep having about debts, more debts, budgetary corruption, every discussion around this now comes to the fore. And we want to ask, this 26.3 billion shillings and the other many billion dollars that we have spent, do we see the evidence of this money actually having been spent in the areas that we had been told they'd be spent? The answer is a resounding no. Anyway, Ramaphosa Group faces challenges in peace quest. There has been a move by African leaders led by Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa, Azil Assoumani, African Union Chairperson, President of Comoros. They arrived in Ukraine, Kiev. They are trying to broker peace between Russia and Ukraine. The question that I have been reading throughout the weekend has been risen. We have problems on the continent. We can't solve these problems. So they think they can go and solve the European problems. I think those are two different discussions. Completely different discussions.
They are different.
They are very different.
What actually is big for me is one of the reasons why these African leaders are so keen on having these two countries peaceful is because these two countries combined are responsible for about 40% of grain supply to Africa.
Actually, it's more than 40. But you're right.
Yeah?
Yes.
Now, if you imagine that our grain for Africa is coming from these two countries. How many acres of arable land do we have in Africa?
More than they do.
And yet,
We can't produce.
Yes, more than they do.
They have less land than the continent, but they feed the continent.
They feed
plus
the
others.
continent. That is a big issue.
It's a big deal, man.
So it's very,
it's a big ask, isn't it?
Yes. It's a very, very big thing. It's a big deal. So, umemaliza tuambie star before we take a break.
Guns go silent in Rift Valley killing fields. That's the bang in the middle headlines. Dawn, local leaders now call for more development. States to invest in schools and security strategies. All right? Top right-hand corner in Teal, 120 million row, Karen House saga. CS Bore tells her side of the story. House owner, would-be buyer, amounts involved. Then some people delved into net worth of proposed buyer, blah, blah, blah. The story goes on. Okay, can they just settle this thing and agree? Yeah, because there's a house that somebody wants to buy, just agree. and when you people were talking and discussing, it wasn't in the papers.
Yeah.
Now it's in the papers. Remove it from the papers. Settle it, please.
Wasn't our issue, man.
No, it is not our issue. You want to buy. If it's too much, then wait a little bit more until you get more money, then buy. If not, you want to sell, don't sell. I mean, we are not going to occupy our mind with these things.
Wachana na sisi.
2 KDF troops killed, 20 injured in Lamu on county terror attack. We're having our own problems here. At least 2 Kenya Defence Force were killed as they respond to attack on a GSU team in Lamu. This is how the story goes. 20 others were injured. Of the 2012 were GSU, the rest were KDF. Okay? The GSU officers were injured when an armored personnel carrier vehicle they were traveling ran over an IED. Okay. Hope for sex workers as MP's small change of laws. This one is interesting. Sex workers have won a big, in a first round approval of a proposal law that would see them operate without fear of arrest of being indecent or immoral. A committee in the Nairobi Assembly has approved bill which the police argue would go a long way to decriminalize the felony.
Oh, so the police are behind it.
They're saying it's okay.
The police are supporting it.
Oddly enough, for the longest time, the laws that criminalized sex work were actually in municipality statutes. It was never really in our...
It wasn't it was bylaws, eh?
Yes. It was bylaws, and it had to do with indecent exposure, not sex, because the sex thing is a bit difficult to prove. It's indecent loitering,
exposure.
those old colonial things which essentially it's a blanket law to allow them to arrest you for anything they want and call it loitering.
Jaywalking in the other side of the world.
That's it.
Yeah.
You're walking indecently.
25 minutes to 7. Let's take a break, take a look at the traffic, and then we look at the stories in detail.
Spice up your life.
Okay, we're looking at traffic building up on Jogger Road going towards the city. Landis will not have too much traffic, not for now at least. Getting into the CBD might be a bit sticky as you're coming in from other parts. Let's look at Gong Road. We're at the junction, some traffic. But where folks have really woken up are getting at it is on the Thika Superhighway. Coming past that junction at Survey, we're also looking at traffic on Kiambu Road, heavy towards Muthaiga Square. Also looking at traffic starting to build up on Limu Road. Folks coming out of Ruaka and Kitisuru waking up a little bit earlier than usual today, and everybody loading into the city on Gong Road. It's starting to build up as you get towards the city mortuary roundabout, and on North Airport Road, we'll see movement there as you get closer towards the Eastern Bypass. Jogger Road, of course, we've seen that start early, and Uhuru Highway is going to pack up as you're getting into the CBD. Your bypasses are looking good this morning. You want to use them to get into and out of the city much quicker than you would if you stuck to the traffic where you are. Let's talk and see what happens in about half hour. Spice FM KE on Twitter.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
23 minutes to 7. Pick a story.
All right, so let me tell this unfortunate story of what happened in Uganda. It's a big deal. Even after we look at what's going on in Shakahola, I will look at that later. Anxious wait for news after 41 dead in Uganda school attack. Distraught families are gathered at the mortuary in western Uganda yesterday for any news of their loved ones after a militant attack left dozens of students dead and others missing. Officials say at least 41 people, mostly students, were massacred at a secondary school near the border of the Democratic Republic of Congo late Friday by militants linked to the Islamic State group. Victims were hacked, shot, and burned to death in a brutal attack at Luhurubihira Secondary School in Mpondwe that has shocked Uganda and drawn condemnation from around the globe. We did see the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, as well as a strong message coming from the UN Security Council about condemning this. The army and police have blamed the Allied Democratic Front, the ADF, a militia based in DR Congo, who fled to the border with 6 abductees in captivity after the attack. The military said it was pursuing the attackers and would recover those who'd been kidnapped. Many of the victims were burned beyond recognition when the attackers set a locked dormitory ablaze, frustrating efforts to identify the dead and account for the missing. At a mortuary in Bwera, a town near where the attack occurred, families wailed at the bodies of their loved ones as they were put into coffins and taken away for burial. But for many others, that was no news. There was no news of missing relatives. Many of those killed in the fires were transferred to the city of Fort Portal, where DNA testing can be conducted. It is the deadliest militant attack in Uganda since 2010, when 76 people were killed in twin bombings in Kampala by the Somali-based group Al-Shabaab. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called it an appalling act, while the United States, a close ally of Uganda, and the African Union also sent their condolences condemning the bloodshed. 17 male students were burned in their dormitory, while 20 female students were hacked to death, according to Uganda's First Lady and Education Minister Janet Museveni. A security guard and 3 members of the public were also killed. The army would track down these evil people and they will pay for what they've done, Museveni said on Saturday.
Is this the same group that had attacked Kampala last year?
So now, I don't
remember the bombing in Kampala last year.
Yeah,
car bombs in Kampala last year.
I'm not sure if it's the same.
And it's one of those militant. I don't like using the word Islamist, but yeah, one of those militant religious fundamentalist groups that was responsible for it.
Well, there are those who claim responsibility for it. But the other thing, though, is that this is a hallmark of groups that are associated with terror. They don't just kill. It's bizarre. They go about it in the most horrific way possible.
Yeah.
So that it's etched in your mind. It doesn't move away from your mind.
It's emotional killing.
Yes. You cannot forget, even if you want to. Yes.
It's hate, and you wonder why.
This is deliberate.
It is.
I am thinking of the Garissa massacre, and I'm thinking of how they went about it. But it's methodical. Hate would denote emotional, and there would be an element of random. There's nothing random about this.
Yeah.
It's methodical, it's clear, it's clinical.
Yeah, this is sending a bigger message.
Yes.
It's not about hating those people. They have absolutely nothing. They don't even care about these children. It's a political message.
When you kill children, you will raise emotions.
Yeah.
When you kill children in the way they've gone about it, some are burnt, some are hacked to death. You just think of the goriest way in which you could kill a human being. Yeah. And these are children. Young people who have done no harm to anyone. You know exactly the sort of emotions you want to elicit. You know. It's not accidental.
No.
It's very, very, it's transactional. It's business. It's like I say, it's not personal. It's business. They're after something. They're after a bigger message, and that's all that matters to them. You and the children and it's collateral. It's really, really, really bad. It's horrible.
Horrible story.
There's a story that is making the headlines, the big headline in the nation this morning, and it's a bizarre story. So it's about, about free medical camps. They take place, people come and they say we have a free medical camp and we'd like people to come for free medical camp screening, and there'll be some sort of treatment that takes place, and if there is no treatment that we are able to do here, we can do some referral. So this has been taking place in Meru, sleepy villages of Meru. 8 months ago, sleepy villages in Meru County received wolves in sheep's clothing. That's the intro for this particular story. What villagers were expected to do was dress up, carry their NHIF cards, and then they were told that they would receive free medical clinics. They needed to come to Nairobi for some tests, and the transport was being provided for free, all right? So just carry your NHIF card. Somebody who is having some pain, maybe arthritis and such kind of pain, joints and bones. It's okay. Just bring them, let them get into these vehicles. We'll bring them to Nairobi for treatment. When they get to Nairobi, some are sent now to some labs for x-rays and such other tests, diagnostics, remember? There's a story here now that talks about Mr. Mwebia Mtomerete, who talks about how he was told to find a medical facility to have his back x-rayed and then share the results. He ignored that call of looking for a lab, get back x-rayed, share the results. His wife, however, was advised to visit a private medical facility in Chuka for the same purpose, and a vehicle was provided to transport her and others free of charge. Back at the camp, she was told she needed an operation. She would later that evening travel to Nairobi free of charge in a vehicle provided by the camp officials. Free. Mr. Mwebia says his wife had been in good health, although she occasionally complained of discomfort in her lower limbs, but she never felt the need to see a doctor and only used a pain balm. She only came to the camp because it was close to her home and it was free, The next day, after the operation, Mwebia spoke to his wife on the phone and she revealed that she was at St. Peter's Orthopedic Hospital in Kiambu County. She said she was tired and she needed to rest. And that was the last time that she spoke to her husband. While she was still at the hospital, Mwebia received a text message informing him that some 300,000 shillings had been paid using his NHIF card. He is unsure whether the full amount was deducted for his wife's treatment, who died soon thereafter, alone and far from home. That hospital is in Kinoo, Kiambu County, and it offered to transport the body to Ngobo Mortuary, where they also paid for all the mortuary services. She was buried days later without a post-mortem. Dr. Jerry Wasena, an orthopedic surgeon and the proprietor of that St. Peter's Hospital, told the nation that the patient required surgical intervention because they felt that she had grade 3 osteoarthritis. We have a program in which we get patients from Chuka because we don't have surgical facilities in Meru. Here we did everything to ascertain the surgery was necessary. A blood test was conducted. We checked her kidney function and we felt the patient would benefit from surgery. We did a successful surgery. Unfortunately, on day 2, when the patient started to walk, she felt certain difficulty in breathing and she died within a very short time. We tried to resuscitate her and even took her to ICU. Our biggest problem with invasive surgeries is what we call DVT, deep vein thrombosis, or a clot. Our worry is that this clot can go from the leg to the heart, and this is what probably killed this patient, as it has done to many patients. Dr. Wasena says that while the patient was brought to their facility, Mwebia's account is different. He says his late wife was picked at a medical camp. This doctor says the patient was brought, but these people know that there was somebody who was coming, picking them from their villages, transporting them to the camp, transporting them to Nairobi, and referring them to these places. Now, it turns out that the nation has conducted an investigation, and there are more and more people from Meru County who have basically gone for those kind of camps. Some have died, unfortunately, others have not. But all of them the hospitals, of course, make claims to NHIF. So here's what they say. Amidst concerns that private hospitals are shutting out poor patients because of unpaid dues to NHIF, data is showing that 8 different hospitals involved in this particular investigation were paid 1.54 billion shillings for 30,111 claims made between July last year and June this year. In the 12 months from July to June, some 30,000 claims, 1.54 billion shillings paid to these 8 hospitals. These hospitals are Afya Bora Hospital, which received 7.4 million. Afya Bora Hospital Annex, which received 238 million. Amal Hospital, 37 million. Beirut Pharmacy and Medical Center, 72 million. Jekim Hospital Ngobo, 84.2 million. Jekim Medical Center, 2.9 million. Joy Nursing and Maternity Isli, 222.6 million. And this St. Peter's Orthopedics and Surgical Specialty, 681.6 million shillings.
Wow. We're saying here essentially that facilities have been paid this money.
Yep.
And is there the likelihood that they were paid this money and they were not supposed to be?
The being supposed to be paid is the unlikelihood of it, because you see, people are coming and they're getting admitted. So when you get admitted, then the hospital fills out the claim, and there's a patient here, and we have a card number. The claim is processed.
Yeah.
The issue is how they end up in these particular facilities in Nairobi. And they're coming from Chuka.
Exactly.
And they're coming from Chuka, they're told this is a free medical camp.
Yeah. So then, is there a dragnet where people then are being brought and said you're going to camp, but there's already these hospitals that have been identified as places where you will go and you have no choice but to pay?
Yeah.
Also, the saga and stories around NHIF and what is perceived or what is sometimes reported as suspect activities, this isn't new. In a time gone by, there have been insinuations that certain health facilities benefited enormously from the same sort of matters that are being discussed here. This is just a little more elaborate because we nowadays have more health facilities than we had then. Private facilities were few in those days. And it's many of these private facilities that benefited immensely from NHIF. A lot of money was paid out.
Yep.
And one had to ask, how? I think the problem sometimes that we deal with in these matters is we are confronted so very often with misdeeds in the public realm that whenever a story presents itself and there is even the slightest hint of a misdeed, you feel, okay, here we go again.
Yep. If you think about it, somebody who's conducting a medical camp, somebody who's facilitating for people to actually get the specialty care that they require, that is a good thing.
Absolutely.
From the very beginning. So people who have arthritis, who have issues with their bones and joints, they're elderly, they are in shags, and the local facilities are not able to sort them out. Now here comes a particular drive that says, all right, there's a big issue here. Let us try and help. So we are conducting a medical camp. Come, we do the tests. And if you require further assistance, then we facilitate that for you. That is a good thing. The issue is now whether these facilities are A, not conducting any of these operations but making the claims, or B, conducting operations which are where an operation was not necessary so that they can make a claim.
Exactly.
All those are now the questions that to ask. I saw one of these patients who was saying that an operation was said to have been conducted, but it wasn't on him. Douglas Kiraide recalls being summoned to Ndarane Market by Winfred Kadhure, who claimed to be a specialist in treating arthritis a condition that causes inflammation and stiffness of the joints. Winfred convinced them that the hospital had been officially opened by President Ruto and that once treated, the condition would not return. There were more than 100 of us and we were very happy with the news. They said NHIF would cover the cost and that those without the cards would not be able to get treatment. So you must have NHIF so that we can sort you out. On this same day, 7 of us went to Jakim Hospital for x-rays. On the way back in their car, one of the officials looking at the x-rays said, I would have to be operated. 2 days later, 16 of us were picked up in the evening in a Nissan Matatu. We arrived in Nairobi at 11 p.m. with a driver who did not seem to know where we were going. Eventually, 6 people were dropped off at various facilities, and the remaining 10, including Mr. Kiraithe, were driven to Joy Nursing and Maternity Hospital, where they were registered and told to wait. He says women were taken to a place to wait. Men were told, Ikumeja, just sit here at the reception. They sat at the reception. Eventually, I was given an injection on my right thigh and 30 tablets to take once a day for 30 days. That evening, I received a text message saying that I had been discharged and that NHIF had paid 130,000 bob. In a claim, the hospital said it had performed an open reduction and internal fixation surgery on Mr. Kiraithe and some of the other patients, each of which was billed at the same price. The surgery is performed to stabilize and heal a broken bone, and according to what their research by Nation has revealed, a patient may need the procedure to treat a broken femur. I heard that I was operated on. Can these people show me where they operated?
Oh, wait, even him being discharged, he was not in hospital because he said I was sent a message saying that I was discharged.
He was in hospital. Remember, they were taken to a hospital.
Yeah.
They were being taken to a hospital facility.
And he was injected.
And he was waiting now for the operation.
Yeah.
But they sat at the reception. Yeah. He got an injection on the thigh and given tablets. 30. Take these ones for 30 days.
Yeah.
Okay. The next morning, he receives an alert on his phone. NHIF, 150,000 shillings has been paid and been deducted. And he's been discharged. So he's like...
For what?
Operation gun. I've been sitting here at the reception. I was only injected. Which operation are you talking about?
Show me where on my body you cut, because operation also means you something. You see, this is it. And I don't know, but something just tells me that this is probably wider and deeper than what is actually happening.
Oh, yes.
It most certainly is.
Much.
Oh, yes.
This is what has... Remember, NHIF is available throughout the country. Okay? Now, there are people who may not necessarily go into these complex schemes. But so long as NHIF exists and there's money that is known will be paid, you will find stories similar to this one where someone says they went to hospital and somehow, the technology is a wonderful thing. Imagine if you didn't get an alert. You'd never know.
You'd never know.
The safety here, the safety guard is the alert. You're told, we have paid this on your behalf.
Because this thing is registered on your card and your phone.
Yes.
So NHIF just sends you an alert, for record purposes. This is what has happened. Imagine.
Unbelievable.
When we talk about fraud and how NHIF is defrauded left, right, and center, these are the things. Now, how many controls can you put in place just to ensure this doesn't happen?
And does that then not explain why it is that NHIF constantly has problems?
Yep.
Always.
Yep.
People making claims for things that were never done, treatment that was never given, procedures that were never conducted.
Yep. But the bigger issue here, by the way, if you just think about it, is all these are private facilities.
Yes, right? They are.
These people are coming from Meru, from around Chuka and Gobo. Chuka and Gobo, there's a hospital in Chuka.
Yep.
There are hospitals in Gobo, there are hospitals in Meru. It means that the public facilities have not been able to deal with the issue because there's clearly an issue of arthritis in this area. There are people who have arthritis and all, and they've been suffering, and they haven't been able to receive the care that they need.
Exactly.
But a private facility somewhere in Nairobi, private facilities are doing all this business.
And there's somebody who is serving as a middleman.
Yes.
Who is rounding up all of these folks and saying there's an opportunity for you to go to a medical camp to sort out the problem where your local community facility was not able to help. So they're rounding up these folks, and this is for me the sadder thing. Rounding up these folks, knowing very well that where you're taking them, that treatment, they're not going to get it either.
Yep.
But there's an opportunity for you to make a quick buck.
Yep.
That's
you will make money somewhere.
Yes.
You will make money, and that's, if UHC is to work, we must have public health facilities working, and we must start from that. We must have those level 2s, 3s, 4s working.
At the community level, it's where it begins. Yep. It's if those do not function, if you do not have the medical infrastructure to have that happen, UHC is dead. It is not going to work. And that's where the attention ought to be.
We'll increase more money, we'll contribute more to NHIF. All of it will go into these private health facilities, and there are many private health facilities.
Lord.
And that will not be improving the public health sector. There has to be that conversation on how to make sure that this thing works. If you don't, Kwisha. City, we have just about a minute.
We can sing a song.
Wow.
Only one stanza?
Only one stanza.
Let's just do one stanza.
Number of Kenyans in need of food to drop by December, says report. There's a story on page 2 of the Star. The number of people going to bed on an empty stomach is expected to decline by December this year, a new report. They said the Famine Early Warning Systems Network reports that 5.599 million Kenyans are currently in dire need of humanitarian assistance. The number hasn't actually gone down. However, the figure is expected to decline between 4.499 million, rather to 4.44, by say a million by the time we get. These figures for me are still daunting. Why do we have 4 million Kenyans going without food, even if it goes down from 5.5 to 4.4? Why?
It's a very high number.
No, they're very, very high numbers.
It's a
Against a backdrop.
population.
I read something alarming the other day that 110 million shillings had been allocated for the immediate former president to buy a high-end 4x4 wheel vehicle and other means. I'm thinking, come on, folks. If that is true, can we get our priorities right?
Does anyone care?
There's money for everything except for people who are poor and need food.
Yep. There's money for everybody else. But if you're poor, there's nothing for you.
Doomed.
It's 7 a.m. Time for the news.
Good morning, this is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. County governments will receive 31 billion shillings, part of the money the national government owes them. Speaking in Kakamega County, President William Ruto gave an assurance that the county government will receive the money by the end of this month, saying that the national government has already paid 62 billion shillings. According to the president, they agreed with the governors that the debt will be paid in installments, stressing that the government will not borrow to pay the debt, but will depend on taxes.
Walikuwa wananipigia kelele hapo nyuma kwa sababu ati pesa imechelewa, lakini nikawaambia ile kitu mimi siwezi kufanya ni kwenda kuchimba shimo nianze kukopa pesa tupeleke Kenya kona mbaya. Niliwaambia tulizeni boli na wamekubali sasa. Tumejaribu sasa, retire ile arrears tulikuwa naye. Tulilipa last hiyo wiki ingine bilioni 33. Tumelipa nyuma hapo ingine bilioni 29. Hii wiki kwa mapenzi ya Mungu na panga namna hii nataka nilipe bilioni 31 kwa hawa wangwana.
President Ruto also asked MPs to vote for the finance bill when it will be read for the third time, that is third reading in Parliament tomorrow. He said the bill aims to enable the government to collect enough taxes so that it can achieve its development project and reduce the national debt.
Sasa hawa wabunge Tuesday wako bunge wapige kura, wapitishe ama waangushe. It's just as simple as that. Mimi nataka nijue kama wewe ni mbunge, wewe unaenda kupiga kura ati tuendelee kulete furniture kutoka nje, watoto wa hapa Kakamega waendelee kung'edhi hapa, hakuna kitu wanafanya? Ama unaenda kupiga kura ati samaki iendelee kutoka sijui wapi, vijana wa Kenya wakwame? ama unaenda kusema ati simiti itoke nje, sijui chuma, sijui nini, vitu ambaye tunaweza kutengeneza hapa Kenya. Bana.
Kakamega Governor Fernandez Baraza has said that in order for the government to achieve the goal of collecting a sufficient amount of money, that is through taxes, legislators must support the finance bill, which is expected to be voted on tomorrow.
We are supporting your initiative to collect taxes. Hatuwezi kuwa na maendeleo hapa, hatuwezi patiana huduma bila watu kutoa pesa. And I want to appreciate, kwa sababu mimi kama mwenyekiti, jambo langu ilikuwa kuhimiza wananchi watoe maoni through public participation. And I also want to appreciate Committee of Finance for incorporating some of the issues which came out in the public participation.
Now, 4 ODM MPs voted to support the 2023 finance bill, and 28 others who failed to show up in Parliament when voting on the bill Wednesday last week will know their fate this week. ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna has said that the party's disciplinary committee will evaluate the reasons given by the MPs who went against the party's position. Those who voted in favour of the bill are Nairobi Women Representative Esther Passaris, Wajir South Member of Parliament Ado Jikigem Member of Parliament Elisha Ochieng, and Suba MP Carolio Monde. Among the other 24 members of Parliament who failed to attend the sanction included nominated MP John Badi Garole, MP Said Buya, Otenda Molovratke, the titles Hamalo Lurambi, among others. The ODM party asked the members to show cause over the failure to follow the party's instructions to oppose the bill, and those who failed to attend the voting sessions were asked to explain what prevented them from showing up. Speaking at St. Paul's Church in Westlands, Nairobi, Sifuna said that the party will take action against all MPs who will not attend plenary sessions for no reason.
The disciplinary committee then will be convened next week to look at everybody's explanation. If people have given reasonable excuses as to why they were not present, they will be looked at. But those who will not be giving satisfactory explanations, then the disciplinary process will continue from there, in addition to those who may not have responded within the time that they were given by the vice chairman of the party. Right now, nobody will have an excuse on Tuesday. Let everybody stand up to be counted.
ODM's move to take action against MPs who allegedly betrayed the party has been condemned by President William Ruto.
Wacheni Kiingereza mingi nini sijui nini, sijui umeandikiwa barua na sijui chama gani. Wewe unaandikiwa barua na chama, na hawa wenye walikupatia kura, barua yao umesoma? Hawa ambao wanataka kazi, barua yao umesoma? Soma barua ya wale watu wamekuajiri, my friend. Na hawa watu wamekuajiri wanataka ajira.
This is Newswire. Dennis Aseta, good morning.
Spice FM, Nakuru.
After 7 o'clock, and heavy traffic on Jogo Road right about now, and also looking at traffic that's coming in. Everybody touching on Outer Ring today, coming in from that Kayole Junction, Manyanja Road, Juja Road, Kangundo Road, and then out towards the city. It's very heavy this morning. We're also looking at it heavy coming off of Thika Superhighway, as well as Kiambu Road today. Muthaiga Square is going to have some fun today because everybody's coming in from all directions. Limuru Road also pretty busy coming into the CBD. Waiaki Way also giving its fair share of traffic coming off of James Gishoro, and it's going to take a while before that levels off. So if you've not left, you might want to hang on just a bit before you get into the madness. It's already Monday morning traffic. It might just get manic. All right, where are we on Mombasa Road? You're looking fine as you're getting out towards the Haile Selassie Junction. A little bit of traffic then's coming in from Langata Road, but that will be managed. Gong Road as well, very, very busy. It's a few minutes after 7 and likely to get crazier. Where are you? Tell us about anything that you see. Give a word on that. Let's talk on Spice FM KE on Twitter.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room.
7 minutes after
the
7.
only
How
way
are
to
you?
start your
It's
day.
19th day of June 2023. How many days till the 30th?
7.
Pass. Just 7.
Okay.
It can't be 7.
9.
30 minus 19 cannot be 7.
11.
Aye, that's better.
Thank you.
Yeah. So 11 days to go till the end of June. And you know what happens at the end of June? Once we get to 0.0000001 second on the 1st of July and you have not filed your tax returns, penalties start accruing. And all because you were just sitting there listening to Spice in the Morning every day and to tell you, please file your tax returns, and you ignored it because of whatever reason. Procrastination is your very best friend or whatever. You didn't do it, you're going to pay for it. So you better just do it now, okay? Log on to itax.kra.go.ke. That's itax.kra.go.ke. File your tax returns. If you're not able to, you can just go to their YouTube channel, KRA, and you'll find tutorials there, or you can reach out to them on social media at KRA Care on Twitter, at KRA_Care on Instagram. Talk to them directly. They'll take you through this whole process. It's as simple as, what did you say, City? ABC. It's as simple as KRA. You never forget it. Please do that. Okay, we have guests who are joining us now in the studio. We are live on Spice FM, on KTN Home, on YouTube, and on Facebook. We've been talking about this 40-year-old baby. Life begins at 40. It's been there at the same location for the last 40 years. But now, my God, it's not just a center. It's a city. The Sarit, your city. We have guests who are joining us. The CEO of Sarit Center is called Sarit Shah. He's here. And the marketing manager at Sarit is called Kezia Owino. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Morning.
How are you doing?
Good.
Very good morning.
You feeling well?
Perfect.
Karibuni sana. We're going to talk about this entire 40-year journey of Sarit Center and what you've done, and then the next 40, what you're looking to do. But before we do that, let's CT welcome you with the day's proverb. Every week, CT comes up with a proverb researches and lines up proverbs from a different African country. This week's proverbs are from which country?
This very country that we are in, Kenya. Last week, one of our listeners called in and said, folks, why is it that we keep hearing proverbs from other countries? How come we never hear of proverbs from Kenya? So we said, yes, this week we will come up with proverbs from Kenya. Now, knowing Kenyans as I do, people will be asking their question, so which part of Kenya does this proverb come from? And my response is, well, thank you for asking. What we will do is we will let you decide whether you resonate with this proverb. Whichever part of the country you come from, listen to the proverb and determine whether you've come across a similar proverb from the area of the country that you come from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now on to today's proverb. Try this bracelet. If it fits you, wear it. But if it hurts you, throw it away, no matter how shiny.
Try this bracelet. If it fits you,
wear it.
But if it hurts,
throw it away,
no matter how shiny the bracelet is. You know, some proverb.
Well,
okay.
This is only something like 4 lines of a proverb. We've had a proverb with 8 lines. So this is mild.
It's not so bad, eh?
No, it's not so bad. You know, there are proverbs that give you the impression it's a poem, and this is a proverb. But this is it.
Have you ever heard this proverb, Sarit?
No. Very interesting.
Have you ever heard this proverb?
No. I'm actually interested to find out how does it apply to my day-to-day.
Now let's get there. What's your interpretation of this proverb, Kezia?
I think that which fits works for me as a person, right, does not necessarily have to work for somebody else. That's what I'm getting from the proverb itself.
It's a good interpretation. Sarit?
Yeah, I think it's do something that looks good on you and is right for you, rather than doing that you want to show things.
It's not about the shiny bit and then you struggle.
Yeah.
Just do it because it works for you.
You and your circumstances.
And your circumstances. Not freeze and shine.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. So this is a proverb against freeze and shine. Okay. It's our. Okay. Let's talk about this. So we've come with goodies and we'll be rewarding goodies throughout the show today. Yes. There's a Sarit Center hamper. Sarit, your city, is celebrating our journey together, 40 years. The guests are here. They've got some goodies. We'll be giving away 2 hampers during this hour, and then we'll be giving away 2 hampers in the course of the show. So make sure that you're listening to all the conversations, everything that our guests will be saying, because the questions will come from what we discuss. Let's start from the very beginning. 40 years ago, Sarit, take us back there. What is it that was happening, and who was it that was sitting around a table, maybe at a restaurant, and they picked up a napkin and they started this idea, or whatever? How did the idea of Sarit Center get born?
So it's a very interesting journey. Let me go back to 1973. So that's 50 years ago.
Yes.
Right? We had a plot in Westlands, and our spiritual guru from India at that time visited in 1973. So we've got 2 founders, Mr. Malenkla Rugani and Mr. Bachubai Shah, who's my father. They mentioned to our guru in 1973 that when you come next, we will move to a peaceful area, because there were trucks from Uganda passing in that Sarit roundabout. What is the Sarit roundabout? So our guru said, he put his stick and he said, no, something unique will happen here, and you watch. So few years went, and then we started buying the plots, surrounding plots, and they remembered actually we were blessed on this land. 1976, one of the co-founders, Malenkla Rugani, went to Brent Cross in London. And when he came back, both of them discussed and they said, let's create Africa's or East and Central Africa's first enclosed shopping center. This was the late 70s. And then that's how the idea was born. And then they started gathering a team of architects, consultants. And 1983, that's when it opened. 27th April 1983.
Wow. What was here in this plot in 1973 when the guru and the 2 gentlemen were sitting? What was that?
This is our house, our residence.
So it was just a residence?
Yeah, on a small plot, right? They were all surrounding were all small all houses, and then obviously they started buying the surrounding plots to create what is there now.
What's the relationship between Malenkla Rugani and your father?
So they are like brothers. Obviously, both of them have passed away. Malenkla Rugani passed 1997. My father passed 2 years ago, and they're like brothers.
And this is where they lived.
Yes. So we lived here, and Malenkla Rugani lived on 6th Parklands.
Okay.
And then the 2 families, that's how they came together. And the 2 families from each side, we call the Rugani family and the Shah family, and that's how they came together. Because of the 2 heads of families and their bonding ensured the bonding also came to the next 2 generations, which still continues.
So then after you decided make East Africa's first enclosed shopping centre, what was the next move after that? What were the first things that you put together on that site?
So, what it's amazing, the plans that were there were scaled down because of the attempted coup in 1982. So when the phase 1 was built, at that time there was supposed to be the retail and four 10-story office towers together with the retail, but it had to be scaled down. So the office towers the structure is still there. The foundations are there. The office towers could not be built because of the attempted coup. We had to scale down. The banks got worried. And then the retail was also scaled down. And the interesting thing was, at that time, the town was saying, this is a white elephant. So we started with 2 tenants. Just saying, you've built this, right? No one is willing to take up space. And we have 2 tenants only, Uchumi and Textbook Center.
Against what capacity? What was the initial capacity?
It was 150,000 square feet at that time.
And the 2, what kind of?
And the 2 were 15,000.
For how long did you stay with only those 2?
And so what happened is, as they opened, we said we have to open, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the first year, people were asked that please come open shop. We guarantee that any loss making in the first year, we will reimburse.
Wow.
To just get them on board. Customers were welcomed at the gates that please come shop here. And then after a year, things just changed. Things changed. But it was, the first year was tough. We've had many challenges that have come, but that's made us bigger. And you appreciate things. It brings values.
How long did it take for it to break even? Because that's a question that people will ask. I mean, if you have put up this thing, you have had to scale back on very many of your initial plans. You have had to launch just soon after an attempted coup and political upheaval and uncertainty. And then you have, an anchor tenant called Uchumi, and then you have this other 1 tenant. How long before this thing started making money for them?
I would say 5 to 7 years.
And all this time, how are they financing its operations?
So it's obviously through equity and also the bank borrowings, bank debt and equity both.
Okay. So it's interesting because here you have 150,000 feet, square feet, and you're trying to fill them up at that time. Did you get to a place whereby now every foot then was occupied?
Yes.
And so how did you get people to now start coming in, renting the space and saying, okay, so there's 2 of you, jolly old good time, you need to fill it up. How did you now start getting more and more people to come into the place where it was full to capacity at some point?
Yeah, so obviously the guarantee that, look, we will take care of your losses in your first year of operations. And that was a very tough thing to do, because obviously at that time we didn't have the capacity even to do that. And what happened is then businesses started opening, and they suddenly saw the mindset, the retail, the trend started changing. Because you're used to parking on the road, go to a shop, come out, put your luggage in the car and drive off. But you're not used to going into a place, you park, go and finish all your shopping, go into enclosed place, shop, come out, right? And then suddenly you see within a year things started changing. And so many tenants that opened then, 16 of them are still with us. Wow. We have now 280 tenants from small to big. 16 of them who have grown with the Sarit, and you can see there are many household names, right? KCB being one of them.
Yep.
Right? And we got Jeff's Optical, Bata. They've all grown. Hot Point, Healthy You. The first branch was at Sarit. And then they started expanding, right? So they've grown with us.
I remember the name was City Within a City.
Correct.
That's how it started. And the thing I found fascinating was the parking space. And Sarit, if I remember correctly, became the parking lot if you're traveling out of town.
Meaning what? People would go and leave their vehicle.
Yeah, it was secure. You just park and you travel. When you come back, you'll find your car is secure and you sort of like drive off. But the idea, as you correctly put it, was it was so grand, it was so futuristic, it was almost impossible to conceive mentally. But then once it came into being, then it became obvious. In fact, you start wondering, what did we have here before Sarit came along? And then you revisited that whole plan and you revamped Sarit again. Now, what is it that made you now come into this thinking and saying, okay, we've had this structure for this length of time, let's do something else? What led to that thinking? Because the old Sarit is not this Sarit.
Yeah.
This is a definitely new, improved, revamped Sarit.
Correct. So, City, you're right. First, let me talk on that parking lot you mentioned, right? You know what happened? Suddenly, we are saying so many cars being parked, and customers are saying we're not getting parking. And imagine that's what triggered paid parking.
Yes.
We were the first ones to bring in paid parking. You know, there was a lot of uproar at that time. But exactly what he said. Because we saw customers are not getting parking. And what people used to do, you're saying going out of town, people used to park and then take a matatu to town.
Yeah.
Or, they have a job to do. This is secure. It's, no problem. Go and finish your work, then come back. So that's how we had to start that. We had to make that tough decision of paid parking for the customers. Right? So if we go back to, I know you said we've revamped.
Yeah. Yes.
If interesting is in between that, in 1995, so we've had this the third phase which we've just done. In between the first and third, we had, in 1995 we had a second phase that we've just done, right? And again, that was we had travelled. I think Nitin had travelled out of to London and Singapore, and we saw that cinemas, food court. That's the trend out there. So in 1995, we decided actually we need to expand and cater for food court, the cinemas, gym. And again, we saw the trend and we had to then reset again.
Yep.
So that's what we did. And then 2015, again, or 16, we said, okay, we need to now change the game again because last 10 years, how many malls have come up if you see? Karen, Thika Road.
They're everywhere. Yes.
And you see what, if you've got land, you got money, and you want to go into property, there was those few years where you just see malls sprouting everywhere.
Yep.
So again, we said, look, we need to again be the game changer. And again, we had to bring in some international architects. And we gave them a brief of, again, you see what's critical, as you said, is the vision and the brief has to be from us.
Yeah.
Or the owners. You can't expect someone and then they can make it, they can bring it alive for you. But the vision and what we want has to be from us. It has to be.
Was it still aligned, this phase 3 in 2016, was it still aligned with the 1973 dream?
So it was part of the city within a city. But this time what we went is when we did phase 3, when we started conceptualizing, we gave a brief of city within a city. So where we've got now even a conceptual idea for phase 4, 5, 6 as well. So we gave them a brief for the next 20 years or 25 years. That's what we want, to say the city within a city. Obviously, now we say it your city. Because
the thing I find interesting, I did a little walkabout in Sarit, I think 2 weeks ago. I prefer Sunday mornings. There's no one, and I got lost. I actually got lost.
Well, within the mall itself?
Yes. I had time on my hands, and I was walking.
So just walking up and down, escalator here.
Yes, just seeing this thing, and I got lost completely. I actually had to ask a security person, excuse me, where the end result meets over there. So I was actually very near the end. So, but in the process of getting lost, I was actually fascinated by what I was seeing. I'm saying this because I hadn't been to Sarit in a while, and my mind went back to malls that I had seen in Cape Town in South Africa. Again, you could get lost, but oddly enough, Sarit was bigger than some of those malls that at the time I was there I thought were big. But what I also found interesting was that certain institutions had moved. For instance, I'm a client of Absa Bank. Where they were before is not where they are now. There were other banks that I had never seen before, and I found them there. So I'm saying, for me, it was a Sunday. I spent an hour. Eric, why are you laughing? Am I not allowed to get lost?
Because I want actually to juxtapose what you're saying, the question to Kezia.
Yes.
One of the big, conversations that has happened after this revamp of Sarit is how big it is. And how people talk about how big it is how you get into Sarit and you have to look for somebody to actually show you how to get out. Right? That's been a conversation. How? Just tell us, because of course you've interacted with all these stories.
Yes.
What is it that people have said about this new launch?
So in terms of getting lost, yes, there are many who have entered one entrance and gotten out of Kangem at some point. But, yes, to mitigate that, yes, initially it was to make sure that the shoppers actually are able to circumnavigate the whole mall and experience what we actually have to offer. But with time, yes, customers have also become very intelligent. So we have also gotten a step further where we now have wayfinders, right? So the wayfinders are like big computers where you can actually search where you are at. It tells you where you are at first, then it tells you where you want to go, right? So we call that the wayfinder. Or alternatively, yes, we have the maps, the Sarit maps, where you can actually get them from our website, or www.sarityourcity.com, where you can actually search where you want to go based on your location. Or even around the mall, next to those maps, we actually even have a QR code. So for the savvy shopper, right? However, for you, Charles, yes. So you have the option of
everything was making sense until you go to QR code.
QR code. Now to help you in your next visit, yes, our customer care desk is located on ground floor, and from the customer care desk you can actually be directed anywhere. However, if you look at any junction, right, any decision point next to the lift or as you enter the mall, at the top there we have wayfinders and or rather directory boards that actually direct you to the particular destination you want to go, right? So all you have to do is look at the directory, right, look at the floor that you're on, and it will take you there. Or our guards for that human touch.
Yeah. Those ones are always very helpful.
Yes.
Or even those direction boards, because now at the ramps, at the stairs, at the lifts, you'll see it written and it tells you when you go up, this is what you'll find up there. This is the food court up there, the cinemas on this side, and it helps. But also I think the fact that it's very well lit. One of the things that you notice about Sarita is once you get in, it's daytime, so you actually don't realize that you have shopped for so long. It's part of the strategy, isn't it?
It's adventure friendly.
Yes.
I did not mind the getting lost, because even when I was shown the entrance, I didn't go to
You didn't go immediately.
I went back. I went back to where I was before. The process of walking through Sarit is actually very interesting. I found it interesting. Just the visual effect of the shops and where they're situated and how they've arranged their products and everything around it. As I said, I very rarely go walkabout shopping. I went to get something specific and I ended up on that walkabout. Yes. I didn't go for a walkabout. I actually went to get something specific.
It was of your own doing.
I am realizing that it wasn't.
It was Sarit's doing.
It was Sarit's doing.
That was by design. When Sarit
So our
is saying
design
that,
is working.
so when you brought in these international designers in 2015 and you told them, okay, let's think. This is what they came up with.
Correct.
We want to contain to make sure that this person is actually here longer. They interact. They move from one shop to the other. They meet other people. They want to come back because they saw something. So it's working. All right, let's take a break and let's now talk about how we can reward two of our listeners and viewers this morning. We've got two hampers, right?
Yes.
And we want to reward someone after we come out of the traffic break. We're going to look at traffic and weather. When you come out of the break, we want to hear from you. 0719 012 600. I'm going to repeat the number. 0719 012 600. Do I have the pleasure of asking the question?
Yes.
Okay. So Sarit Shah, the CEO, has told us that Sarit Center is celebrating 40 years and it has had 2 revamps. There was phase 1, the launch. There was phase 2, a revamp. And there was phase 3, a revamp, right? So give us those 3 dates. The year Sarit Center was launched, the year of the first revamp, the phase 2, and the year of the phase 3, when it was conceptualized, right? Is that a good question?
Yes, it is.
Is that good?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Because you said, let's see if you're listening to everything that they're saying. Let's see then. So call us 0719-012-600 for a chance, 012-600 for a chance to win the Sarit Your City hamper, celebrating our journey together, 40 years. Our guest this morning, Sarit Shah, is the CEO of Sarit Your City. And Kezia Owino is the head of marketing at Sarit.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's that time again when we get to gather around and marvel at the great engineering, raw power, finesse, and sharing our round motor love for motoring at the annual Digger Motor Show 2023. From car lovers, bike enthusiasts, spare part dealers, insurance, as well as asset financiers and more, this year's Digger Motor Show will be one for the books. We're talking a whole 4-day event from Thursday 20th to Sunday 23rd at KICC Grounds, Nairobi, where we will have something for everyone, so you better not miss out. Get the family, bring your friends, and share in the joys that will give you lasting memories and an experience you're bound to not forget. For more information or participation, contact Caroline on 0723.
Nairobi, we'll see highs of 22 and lows of 13 today. We'll see highs of 26 in a partly sunny Nakuru at 14. It's 14 and cloudy in Nyeri, highs of 23, and 24 will be the high in Eldoret, where it is sunny at 15. Mostly sunny conditions at 23 in Mombasa, highs of 29, and 30 will be the high in Malindi, where it's sunny at 23. It's 20 and mostly sunny in Kisumu, highs of 28, and we'll see highs of 27 in a partly sunny Kakamega at 16. Cloudy at 19 in Kampala, highs of 27, and 30 will be the high in a mostly cloudy Dar es Salaam at 25. It's clear at 9 in Johannesburg, and 25 and cloudy in Lagos, 22 mostly cloudy in Kinshasa.
When the engine revs, will you be ready to get all that petrolhead enthusiasm at this year's annual Digger Motor Show? Well, you better belt up and make your way to KICC from the 20th to the 23rd of July 2023 for a wholesome 4-day event. Come and join car lovers, bike enthusiasts, spare part dealers, insurance, as well as asset financiers, and more for what will be an unforgettable experience by far. We are going all out to make it a great show for you and the whole family with something for everyone, so you better not miss out. For more information or participation, contact Caroline on 0723-803601 or email cnyandiaka@standardmedia.co.ke. Digger Motor Show 2023 is brought to you by Standard Group and Digger Motors and is powered by Spice FM.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Done right. 94.4.
Past 7 and traffic heavy on Jogo Road. Still coming into the city from the eastern side of the city. It's actually quite heavy. Let's then look at Komarok Road, Juja Road, Kangunda Road, still pretty heavy. Manyanja, everybody feeding onto Outer Ring. The Thika Superhighway, heavy just past Survey, as well as on Kiambu Road, closer to Ridgeway's Kiambu Road at the junction with the Northern Bypass. That continues to be heavy. Naivasha Road now feeding on into Riara Road and onto Gitanga Road. It's going to take you a little bit. You'll be fine as you get towards James Gishuru. Spilling over to Wayaki Way is when it gets busier. All right, there was some traffic on Langata Road getting into the city. It's not too crazy right about now. Started crazy, might ebb and flow a little bit, but we know that it's going to pile up. And if the heavens open, things are going to slow down a little bit more. Let's keep an eye out for that in terms of what might happen and be ready for it. Let's talk on Spice FM, KE, on Twitter.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
This is Kenya's biggest conversation. This is the Situation Room. This morning we're celebrating Sarit, your city, at 40. Sarit Shah is the CEO of Sarit, and Kezia Wino is the head of marketing. And they're here telling us the entire journey of Sarit and the thinking behind that entire journey and what then Sarit will be looking like some 20, 25, 30, 40 years from today. 1973, some two gentlemen sitting somewhere in a home think, and they're talking to a guru, and they're like, you know what, we want to transform this city and we want to see what we can do. 1976, they decide, you know what, let's actually think of starting a first enclosed shopping center for Eastern Africa. A couple of years later, on the 27th of April, 40 years ago, Sarit Center is launched. And they had retail facilities, they got tenants, and they did business, and people came in. And several years later, phase 2 of Sarit Center, where they revamped it, and they decided, okay, let's add cinema and cinema experience. Let's add a food court where people can sit and enjoy a meal together, social amenities. Let's have a gym, and this happened in that phase 2. Phase 3, a couple of years ago, hey. Yeah, so it's basically become Sarit, your city. So more parking spaces available, more retail spaces available, more kind of amenities. And there's something else that is happening, and Kezia will tell us about it, which is even meeting, events and expo facilities.
Yeah.
Big thing. The question that we asked before we end the break is you to tell us the years that these things happened. When was Sarit Center launched? Question. And then when was the first phase? Which year? When was the second phase? Which year? Okay, phase 2, which year? Phase 3, which year? I've got callers on the line. Many. Let's see who wins this particular hamper. Simon in Nairobi, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Better than...
Mm-hmm.
They said they did a meeting in 1995, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the last thing they did was 2016. Those were the dates I had, if I'm not wrong.
Those are the dates you had?
Yes.
Stay on the line. We'll tell you whether you're right. Gregory, Nairobi, good morning.
Morning, Eric. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Which years? Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3?
I'll go with 83, 95, and 2016.
83, 95, and 2016. Okay, just stay on the line. I've decided to pick one more. Well, this is Winnie from Eldoret. Winnie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine. And yourself?
Very well, thank you. The years?
The years is 27th April 1983. First, it was conceptualized in 1973. Then it was built in 27th April of 1983. The second phase was in 1995. And the third phase, he said, was 2015, 2016. He wasn't quite specific.
Sorry. Those three.
Correct.
Who's wrong?
They're all right.
They're all right.
Because, the last 2 dates, that's when we conceptualized. Phase 2, 95, opened 2-3 years later. Phase 3 conceptualized 2017, opened 2-3 years later. So they're spot on.
They're all. Both of them 3. Okay. So congratulations, Winnie. Congratulations, Simon. Congratulations. Those years are not hard to remember, right? You see?
Actually, no. It means these are people who pay attention.
Yes.
and they focused on this.
Yeah.
We've had situations where you ask a question and you actually wonder whether the person actually heard the question correctly. Yes. Yes, they were paying attention.
Okay. But sorry, somebody said it's not very clear what happened in which year. In the 95, 97, 2015, 2017, 2019. Just clarify that. Phase 2, when was it started or when was it launched?
So in terms of the idea started, as I said, from 95, and then it was fully opened 1999.
Okay.
Phase 3 we started 2015, 2016 conceptualizing. We started construction 2017 and 2019. So this was just 6 to 8 months before COVID we opened. Just before, and then obviously due to COVID, certain tenants got delayed in opening because you generally open and all the tenants don't open at the same time. Some are fitting out late, some are early. So 2019 is actually when the first tenant around June opened in phase 3.
Yeah. So Kezia, tell us about the Expo Center. I mean, we know about it and can never really get in because it's always packed, right?
Yes.
Because it's always booked into infinity.
Yes.
So what was the idea behind that? And then also looking at the uniqueness of other things like the rooftop garden. When we talk about a shopping experience, it's like you're going to shop, but then there are things that communities of people can do as well.
Yes.
So what was the idea behind the Expo Center?
So just to build on what Mr. Sarit has mentioned, the Expo Center is an idea that was also brought from what had been seen out there in the European market. And they brought it here to make sure that they're catering to those shoppers or to those businesses that would not ideally get a store in Sarit, but would also get the opportunity to expose their businesses through a particular medium. That was the Expo Center. So it was first located on first floor, right? And we had a series of exhibitions that catered to particular items or particular specialities. So you'd find that if you are in the homes and gardens and you want to specialize in that particular field when it comes to decorating your home, furniture, plants, we have that particular event that is catering to that speciality. Like this month, we have the Medical Expo, where it caters to all things medical. We're talking about pharmaceutical, we're talking about gadgets, as well as equipment that cater to the medical sphere, right? So the expo has now evolved, and it's currently at the second floor, right? And we are talking about a pillarless expo where events are held. We're not just talking about specialty events, but also weddings, corporate events, and we also even have meeting rooms where people can actually come and work, as well as hold meetings, and you can hire them out. So at Sarit, we're giving an experience not only that is tailored to retail, but we are also looking at other aspects that can also cater to specialty in terms of events. Yes.
It's an interesting one. So is it like co-working spaces are available?
Yes.
Hot desks?
We do have a meeting area where you can actually have work from there, as well as hold even conferences or even small meetings that you can also come on board on. Yes.
The rooftop garden.
Yes.
Why?
With trees.
I mean, it's fantastic. It's like dining, with foliage. But look, why? What is the idea behind that, and what can people enjoy with that?
So rooftop garden, as you know, every phase, as even all three of you have mentioned, we've had something unique. So in this one, we wanted also, when we built phase 3, another unique feature. And we said, let's have rooftop garden. The beauty about the Kenya weather, it allows us to have such a design. If you're in other countries where you got 6 to 9 months of winter, who's going to sit outside? Right?
Yeah.
So we said we need a unique feature, and then we've got so we said let's do a rooftop garden with restaurants where people can enjoy the fresh air. You can sit, enjoy, have a nice meal with your family. You can do meetings, right? And we thought that the Kenya weather allows this. And the beauty is, imagine we opened this just before COVID. But COVID time, people wanted, you wanted fresh air, right?
You wanted to be outdoors.
Right. And then we said, no, we need to have some indigenous, or some trees there rather. And then So we said, which other building has got on the second floor trees?
Truly. Yeah.
So the structure and so much design work went in it, but we wanted something unique. And you can see it's picked up quite well, doing very well. People enjoy, families enjoy. You can choose the different types of cuisine. So it's worked out really well.
Yeah. Parking, you also expanded parking. So from the initial parking where City would leave was Pujo 405 and travel and come back.
It was a 505.
It was a 505.
Yes.
It was a bigger one.
Get it right.
It was like, come on, you know?
Surely, I mean.
What do I take you for? Sure. When City would leave his Peugeot and go around and do his biashara within Westlands and then come back, and he would drive his Peugeot up country. Now there's more parking spaces. There's a front side, there's a back side, and then there's an entire parking silo. Explain the thinking behind that. It's a lot of parking space.
So, from day one, we've thought that if you don't have adequate parking, you need to cater for customers. If they can't park, how are they going to come and shop? So we've always had that thinking that parking has to be adequate. And then obviously when we built phase 3, so we now have 1,600 car park spaces. And what we said with the current infrastructure of Westlands and so much traffic everywhere, you can't just have one entry and one exit, or two entries and two exits of the same place. So we said, around the property, we've got 3 different types of parking. And that's what we said, that to make it convenient, so customers, depending on which direction they're coming from, they can pick the parking that's easier for them to come in, and they can just park there. Rather than, sometimes within that roundabout, you can spend half an hour.
Yeah.
Right? So we need to make it very friendly for a customer, whether it's coming from Brookside, or let's say from Parklands, or from Wayaki Way, they get their nearest parking.
Yeah.
And then the parking silo, which again is 10 floors of parking. And again, that was conceived because the 4 retail floors, or from low ground to second, we said that the parking silo connects to each floor. So now what people do, having learnt the hard way, they know we want to go to the expo center, for example.
So you go
to the second floor and park there and enter. Right? So it's basically, all this is just for the convenience of customers and to ensure that for them to enter the mall, park and enter is very easy for them.
Yeah.
And friendly.
Your modern customer, the retailer, the person who's taking up space at Sarit, has also, changed with time. Nowadays, the expectation is that you are also going to support me, get business and get foot traffic. So I guess that falls squarely on your laps, Kezia.
Yes.
Because as head of marketing, it's your job to make sure that there's a proper footfall into Sarit Center so that those people can then go into the shops. Now, what is it that you do to encourage the foot traffic, encourage people to come in, and how do you work with your retailers so that then this is all seamless?
So the beauty about Sarit is that we are a community. And when I speak about community is that we are a collaborative community with our tenants. So we understand our tenants' businesses, we understand the tenants' consumer, as well as the fact that we also know our brand positioning, being the largest enclosed mall in Eastern Central Africa, catering to a particular consumer, right? And we have 9 consumer portraits that we actually speak to from a larger perspective. So we have working sessions with our tenants, and we try to figure out how can we actually make sure that these shoppers are the same people who are coming, to make sure that they are coming not only to experience the mall, but also to make a purposeful purchase into the mall. So it's collaborative, and media initiatives such as where we are at right now also collaborate and make sure that we're actually putting footfall or pushing footfall to the mall. So we look at events, we look at marketing collaborative efforts, as well as any right now the consumer is very user generated, right? And you'll find that they're looking to make sure that their hobbies as well as the reasons as to why they come to Sarit are in line. So we've made sure that we are matching that to all our consumers. Yes.
There are different kinds of consumers, like you've said.
Yes.
Different profiles of consumers. Now, the one that confounds many is these two, the millennials and the Gen Z.
Yes.
Their needs, their shopping, their habits have been different. How have you noticed that? I mean, how do you engage with that?
Now, you can actually follow us on social media. We are on TikTok, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram as well as Facebook. And you'll find that different communications actually caters to this audience. And from us, from a marketing point of view, we've also learned from them. So memes such as I getting lost in the mall, we actually encourage that usability. Why? Because these are young people trying to figure out where can they get their latest shoes from Clarks, for example, or Skechers or Mr. Price. And we build on that because as they make content, we're also learning from them. And they're telling us what they want. So we also have a listening ear because they're the future of the mall.
So this Shop and Win mid-mall campaign, happening soon, happening now.
Yes.
What is that all about? There's a Sarit song and there's a coffee table book. Many exciting things happening at the same time.
Yes.
I mean, can it get more exciting? Really? What is happening with this?
So, Sarit being an innovator, a retail leader, we have actually come up with the first mid-year Shop and Win campaign. It has never happened before in Kenya because most campaigns actually do happen in December. So we've shifted that to make sure that we are celebrating this journey with our shoppers. Our shoppers are our first concern, right? And we know right now that this is the right time for them to actually experience shopping on a whole different level. So we have the Shop and Win campaign where all you have to do is spend 2040 to get into the draw. We have daily giveaways every day between Monday to Monday, apart from Thursday when we have the weekly weekly draws, and every week we award different shoppers based on the vouchers and the giveaways that we have planned out for that week. Then we have the grand draw that is going to be held in August, where one person is actually going to walk away with a brand new Proton Saga, 0 mileage, and a cruise trip courtesy of Holiday Bazaar and Royal Caribbean to Singapore, among other shopping vouchers that we've lined up from our sponsors. So we are gifting back this birthday celebration. We are gifting back to them. We also have a song, Sarit song, where shoppers can actually listen, download and dance to a tune that will be carried on for years to come. And then of course now we have the coffee table book. Some of the highlights that Mr. Sarit and I have actually spoken about are all outlined there. And we are talking about now the history of the two families, the Shah and the Rugani family, the different businesses that they've been in, the thinking behind now phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3, and even the 20-year master plan that is scheduled.
So City wants to download and dance to the song.
Yes.
Make sure that we capture all of that on camera. So people can come and shop at any outlets in Sarit. So what we're saying during this, any outlet where you spend 20, 40, not selected ones, but any outlet.
Any outlet.
Okay.
Yes. So our tenants are giving back to the shopper, and we are also giving back to the shopper. This is our celebration, and we are passing it back to you, the shopper.
Something I'd like to ask: if someone wants to occupy a space in Sarit, right now in this country, one is spoiled for choice if you're looking for not necessarily a mall, but a place to begin your business. So what exactly do you offer this person who wants to occupy your space? What is this thing that you're giving them that someone else cannot give them?
So, very good question, actually. So, if you see, our core strength is the tenant mix we have at Sarit. That's our strength. And I appreciate all the tenants we have because we've grown together with the tenants, as I said earlier. What's important is, obviously, we bring the location, the variety in the mall. We're very careful in our selection of we have to see what the market wants. What will our 9 customer portraits buy? Then based on that, we have to say that this tenant would be ideal. Right? And then that's what we offer. So we get applications every day that, look, please, we want space from 500 square feet or 200 square feet to 20,000 square feet to 100,000 square feet. But we have a leasing strategy in place based on our profile. And that's what we are very particular on, that we select the tenants carefully and we believe that they will add value to everyone around.
Okay.
So if, for example, I'll just give you an example. We've got fashion stores, maybe of more than 30. We've got so many mobile shops. But where we believe that a particular category can have multiple, then it's fine. But there are certain categories where we can't have multiple.
Okay. On average, how many people come to Sarit every week? Which days of the week do you have the largest number? In a year, how many people walk through the gates and the doors of Sarit?
So, daily average, we're now at 25,000 approximately. That's the daily average. If we look at the weekdays, weekends are greater, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday being now the highest, followed by the weekdays. So weekdays, so it averages out to 25,000 a week.
That's a high number.
25,000
daily, weekly average.
That's a very high number.
Very many people.
Very
many people.
That includes CT.
Yes.
Doing his laps. And me as well. And looking for parking. And all those who are coming in, not looking for parking because there are no parking spaces available, but looking for where you parked your car. Which is a good thing also, because and like you've said, there's an app, there's a QR code, there are very many ways in which one can tell their space. 1 hour is a short time for such a 40-year conversation. But our 1 hour is up, and we thank you very much for joining us this morning. Sarit, you have a question that you'd like to ask. One person will win it on social media. What's that question?
What do they love about Sarit?
What do you love about Sarit? Okay. And Sarit and Kazia are then going to pick. Go to our social media platforms, Spice FM KE on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook, and we're also on TikTok, by the way, even as guys are after those. We're also on TikTok, and they'll help us to pick a winner by the end of the show. Sarit Shah, CEO of Sarit Center. Kazia Owino, Head of Marketing. Sarit, your city. Good morning. It's 8 a.m.
The latest news from around the world.
That for Kenya to progress to the next level of first world countries like Singapore and Malaysia, similar decisions must be taken as those made by the developed nations.
Hawa wabunge Tuesday wako bunge wapige kura, wapitishe ama waangushe. Ile program yetu ya housing, kiini yake kubwa sio nyumba, kiini yake kubwa ni ajira. That's what we are looking for. Kwani mnafikiri nyinyi mtatoa wapi kazi ya kupatia hawa vijana wengi hawa? Tumeweka pesa nyingi hapa Mumias, karibu bilioni 4-5, lakini bado inaenda kwa shimo. So this time round we must get it right.
The government will conduct the third phase of the post-mortem exercise on 94 bodies of the victims of the Shakahola starvation cult from today to ease congestion at the Malindi Sub-County Hospital mortuary. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki said that so far the government has exhumed 336 bodies in Shakahola forest, which sits at the expansive Shakama Ranch since the exercise began.
Hivi sasa tumetoa katika awamu ya 3 miili 94 na pia tumesimamisha kutoka kesho. Hatutaendelea na ile kazi ya kutafuta maiti kwa sababu tungetaka kwanza hiyo miili 94 ifanyiwe upasuaji ili tuwe na nafasi katika kile chumba cha kuhifadhi maiti katika hospitali ya wilaya ya Malindi.
Kindiki said that the government has temporarily halted the examination process until the completion of the examination of the 94 bodies. The prosecution has indicated it intends to charge Paul Mackenzie with genocide and other related charges. The Interior CS maintained that the government will do everything in its power to make sure that every victim is accounted for. This, as Kindiki says, the government respects freedom of worship and acknowledges the role played by a majority of religious leaders and organizations in spirituality nourishing their followers whilst contributing to development programs in various sectors such as education and health. There was need to hold wayward religious leaders to account.
Kwa sababu wale watu tumepoteza pale ni watu wengi sana. Hatujui ni idadi gani. Hatujui idadi ya mwisho watakuwa watu ngapi. Lakini Mheshimiwa Rais ametuamrisha sisi kama Wizara ya Usalama tuhakikishe kwamba tumetafuta watu wetu wote ambao wamezikwa pale, tuwatoe pale, wapatiane kwa jamii zao baada ya utaratibu wa kisheria kufanyika, na sisi kama serikali hatutaficha ukweli.
And at least 10 General Service Unit officers were injured when an armored personal carrier vehicle they were traveling in ran over an improvised explosive device. The IED is suspected to have been planted on the road by Al-Shabaab militants at Mlima Faru between Pananguo and Witu in Lamu County. Lamu West Deputy County Commissioner Gabriel Kioni confirmed the incident that took place when more than 10 GSU officers were on the normal patrol within Pananguo route, which borders the vast Boni forest. A multi-agency security operation dubbed Amani Boni is currently ongoing to flush out Al-Shabaab militants believed to be hiding inside the dense Boni forest. Kioni said the affected officers are from the Pananguo GSU camp. Kilifi Governor Gideon Mungara has advised hotel owners in the county to invest in conference facilities to attract more tourists. According to Mungara, local and foreign tourists organize meetings in the county, and the strategies to attract more tourists who come to meetings are put in place. More income will be generated in the tourism sector.
Mambo ya mikutano ndio kiegezo kipya chetu cha utalii. Tuhakikishe kwamba hoteli nyingi zinaweka sehemu za mikutano ili tuweze kupata watalii wakija wapate sehemu za kufanya mikutano. Mumeona wenyewe kwamba siku hizi Kilifi imefanya mikutano mingi. Vitengo vingi vya mashirika yasiyo ya serikali yako hapa Kilifi. Kwa hivyo ni kitega uchumi kizuri sehemu za mikutano, kwa sababu kitavutia watalii wale ambao hawaji kwa kwenda safari ama kuogelea baharini.
The same sentiments have been shared by Kilifi North Member of Parliament Owen Baya.
Nimependezewa kwamba kwa mara ya kwanza Kilifi iko na convention center ambayo itatumikia taifa na pia mataifa ya nje, na itafungua utalii hapa Kilifi. Kuna wale wako na hoteli lakini hawana conference center. Sasa kuna wale watu watakuja, wataingia kwa hizo hoteli lakini watakuja kwa hii conference, na kwa watu wa Kilifi watafaidi kwa kazi. Kwa hiyo hiki ni kitega uchumi kikubwa sana kwa Kilifi, na kuambia Wakenya kwamba waje Kilifi sasa na tunawapongeza wawekezaji kwa kazi nzuri ambayo wamefanya.
I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
A few minutes after 8 o'clock, and traffic busy in many parts. Looking at Jogo Road, getting out towards Landis. Landis is what is packed now, getting towards Haile Selassie. It's also pretty busy coming off the Thika Superhighway out then towards Muthaiga Square. Kiambu Road also doing the thing this morning. Coming in from the northern bypass, really busy. Ruaka Kitisuru. Let's look at the, what is this thing called? It's called the Red Hill Link Road. That's what it is. It's busy coming in from James Gishuru. We saw Juja Road also quite packed earlier on, and that still continues. Where are you this Monday morning? Let us know. Let's try to keep things moving. Talk to us on Spice FM KE on Twitter.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversation. conversations. The Situation Room. Witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room.
It is 8 minutes
the
after
only way
8.
to
Good
start
morning
your
on this
day.
19th day of June 2023. Kenya's biggest conversation on to the third hour. Live on Spice, on KTN, home and on YouTube and Facebook. Ndu, Ebu, tell people why they need to go to itax.kra.go.ke, please.
Because the bad boys will come for you if you do not.
Oh my goodness.
Do you want me to expound?
Yes, please.
Yes, expound.
So, you know how they say, give unto Caesar what is due to Caesar, etc., etc. You've been given some time to, file your tax returns. The 30th of June is the day. So if you sleep on the 30th and wake up on that Saturday morning and you realize you've not done it, it's possible that you'll have some fines thrown at you, and you don't want that, really, do you? So you have about 11 days to get it done. Let's say 10. Forget about the 11th. Go to itax.go.ke.
You got it right.
Studio.
Yes.
And please file your tax returns. Do it in time. You still have some time to do it. Don't get stuck in the dragnet of fines. We don't want that to happen. Do the thing and let's move on.
Because I've been telling you about it and you don't listen, so maybe Ndu will convince you. If you don't, then KRA will convince you. More than 25 years of experience. That's the 911 Group, an integrated security solutions provider offering value, creating security solutions to customers in East Africa region for more than 2 decades since inception. Over the years, this group has grown to become a market leader in vehicle tracking solutions, electronic security and screening solutions, emergency response, manned guards, and road rescue services. Now, especially those ones, road rescue services and emergency response, if you really, and even car tracking, if you really want to get support, many times you're thinking of the panic button or who to call at that particular hour of need. Now, 911 Group have come up with an app, and you can download it from the Play Store or App Store. If you are in that situation of an emergency, road rescue services, you need your road rescue service, you need some emergency services, you just open your app and you log onto it and you basically tell them where you are. No, you don't even have to tell them where you are. You just press the panic button. They will see your location from their call center because of GPS tracking, and they'll be able to dispatch a team to come and help you. Pale ulipo. Popote pale ulipo. Just download the 911 Group app on Play Store or App Store. Register and live a smooth life. This is how. We have 2 guests who are joining us in the studio. One of them, both have been here before. The Honorable Geoffrey Ruko is the Member of Parliament for Mbeere North constituency. He is in the National Assembly. He's very many things. How many committees are you in the National Assembly?
I'm in 2 committees.
Yes.
Most of the members are in 2 committees. Yes, it is very difficult to be
in more than 2.
To serve, even if you are in more than 2,
you wouldn't be useful.
Even serving 1 is a problem. Yes, so actually 1 is enough.
Which are those 2 committees?
I'm in Committee of Tourism and Wildlife, Departmental Committee, and also I'm in Select Committee of Delegate and Registration.
Okay.
Yes.
Very important committees. Yes. He's here alongside Philip Kagushia, who is the Deputy Director for Asset Recovery at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Good morning, Philip.
Morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back.
Hey, you went to recover assets. You left us here. Good to have you back.
Yes.
You're here, both of you, because we want to have this conversation. The last time Washimua Roko was here, we talked about it. And this is the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Amendment Bill that he is sponsoring in Parliament, and we want to discuss it, the merits, the demerits of it, and also to hear what the thoughts of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission are on this. To welcome you to the show, City has the day's proverb. Every week, City has a proverb from a different country. This week, they are from the country called?
Kenya.
All right. Whose president is called?
Careful.
We're in Kenya, aren't we?
Yes, we're in Kenya.
Kenya. The president is called Dr. William Ruto.
Well done.
Okay,
Yes.
very good.
And the deputy, deputy president is called Geoffrey.
Regabe.
Careful, there's another Jeffrey next to you.
It's called the GRG.
Those are his
Riggy
names.
G.
Yes, exactly.
He's a truthful man. Sawa.
He is.
The proverb?
The proverb has nothing to do with someone being truthful or not. It has to do with the bracelet. Try this bracelet. If it fits you, wear it. But if it hurts you, throw it away, no matter how shiny.
Try this bracelet. If it fits you, wear it.
Yes.
If it doesn't,
throw it away.
No matter how shiny.
Doesn't matter how shiny it is.
Just throw it away.
Throw it away.
Philip.
Yes.
What's your interpretation of this proverb?
I think it's something I've heard also from reggae songs. They say, who the cap fits, let them wear it. Yes.
You sing that song?
Oh. On a Monday morning?
Yes.
No chance.
Mheshimiwa Roko, what's your interpretation of it?
I'm very poor in some of these things. It talks of a shiny bracelet. I have a shiny one, so I don't know.
If it fits you, wear it. If it doesn't, throw it away, no matter how shiny.
I think more is that whatever glitters is not always gold. Whatever you see looking nice, it may not be indeed nice or good for you. I don't know whether it makes sense or not. I don't know.
How about this interpretation, Mheshimiwa Roko? Try this piece of legislation. If it works, keep it. If it doesn't, throw it away.
Yeah. Also, from that point of view, it fits very well because I have a report, of for the last 5 years, from 2018 to this year, on anti-corruption, ethics and anti-corruption report from 2018 to now, and it's about a brief on success rate of the prosecutions of corruption cases under Section 45 of Anti-Corruption and Economic Act 2003. This is a report done by a researcher, in my committee of delegated registration. And whatever the report is saying, it's not a very good for the Kenya taxpayers because the money we invest in anti-corruption authority and the success rate and the number of cases which are reported to EACC and the one which sees the light of the day, For instance, in 2018-2019, EACC in its Ethics and Anti-Corruption Report of 2018-2019, reported that the Commission received and analyzed, processed 9,308 reports on corruption and unethical conduct during the year 2018-2019. Out of these 9,308, received only 3,482 were relevant to the Commission mandate, representing that 7%. Out of the 3,482 reports recommended for investigations, bribery constituted 39%, embezzlement constituted 22%.
What?
Embezzlement.
Embezzlement, 42%.
22%. And abuse of office, 9%. Others included maladministration, penal code offences, and civil issues. Public procurement irregularities only constituted 9% of the report, which was relevant to the Commission's mandate. Now, by the end of the financial year, EACC and a total of 1,593 cases and investigations, out of which 218 were written to ethical breaches. I want you to see, we are talking about 9,000
reported.
Then we go all the way down to 200, and we are going further down. 234 investigation files on corruption and in economic crimes, which were forwarded to DPP for review. Out of the file forwarded to the DPP for review, EACC recommended 78 for prosecution. You understand? We are now at 78.
Wait, 234 files forwarded to DPP.
Out of those,
is
78.
forwarding to DPP a recommendation for prosecution?
Yes.
And I think that is the factual point. If 238 have gone to the DPP, those have been recommended for prosecution.
So what is the 78?
78 for EACC recommended 78 for prosecution. 13 for administrative action.
13 of the 78.
And of 234.
Okay.
Administrative action and 3 for closure. Okay. In the same period, EACC reported 414 pending cases on corruption, economic crimes, and unethical conduct pending before court. How many? 414. Out of these cases, 14 involved willful failure to comply with procurement procedures, 3 concerned engaging in the project without prior planning, and 2 concerned fraudulent payment from public revenues for the service not rendered. Probably just to summarize. During the same year that we are talking about 2018, 2019, and I have a report of every year from 2018 up to today, 78 cases of corruption, economic crime, and unethical conduct were finalized in court. Okay? There were 23 acquittals.
78 finalized. Out of these 78, 23 were acquittals.
Do you know what that means to have 23 acquittals, Ratif?
What does it mean?
It means these are 23. Probably it's not one person, it's several people.
There are at least 23 people.
At least, yes, minimum 23. It means that these people can go back to court to claim damages for being dragged in court over the years for things which were not true.
What are the reasons for the acquittals?
Because the case could not hold the water in court.
Is that the reason cases people are acquitted in court? Is that the only reason? It's not the only reason.
What I'm saying, Ratif, is members of parliament are given responsibility by the constitution to ensure we have laws which can stand the test of time in our court processes, in the justice administration processes. What we are saying is this section repealing has wasted Kenya's resources, Kenya's taxpayers for the last 20 years. It is high time we repeal this amendment, these sections of the law, so that we can align everything with the Constitution and other statutes of law like Procurement and Disposal, Public Procurement and Disposal Act, as well as other laws like Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, so that we may not be facing such high, we are talking of people dragging people in court processes for criminal offenses, which at the end of the day they will be acquitted, and then go back to the same court to claim damages. Today, I have one of the registrators in Parliament who want EACC to pay 300 million for unlawful dragging her in the court processes. Okay? and of course, once you have a criminal prosecution in court, you are not supposed to be abroad. You are supposed to be out of the job and do your
for all that time.
For all that time. And mark you, the average years. You know, I have the summary of the average years one prosecution takes is minimum 4 years.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So why don't you summarize your report? Because you say you have a report in summary. Can we have that report in summary?
I'm just, it's every year. Every year.
So this is a summary for that 2018.
Yes. That's just 2018. For instance,
what's the latest one that you have?
On 2018-2019, there was only one conviction under section 45(2). Okay, only one.
So what happened to
from 9,302? What are you talking about?
Okay.
Yeah. So the question is, which we should ask ourselves, what is the problem here?
All right, so maybe we can do that and then ask the question in terms of what has been happening then. Philip,
and you know, something which I'm finding funny.
Maybe I think we can ask the question now in terms of what has been happening with the investigation and prosecution of cases when it does come to the EACC in the last, give it 5 years, Philip.
And I think 5 years is a fantastic benchmark. So the summary that we've been given by the Honourable Member, unfortunately, this is a problem of dealing with numbers without context. Okay? So 9,000 reports, yes. You know, some of those reports are actually... You know, you had your opportunity to speak. And I think we had mentioned this to the station, that if you're not going to be able to moderate this interview, there is no point in having
Philip.
it. Okay? So now...
You have the floor. You're answering a question. Why are you answering
I don't want an
Rocco's
interjection.
question?
I don't want an interjection. So what I was saying is this is a problem of having numbers without context, Latif. 9,000 reports. Some of those reports are actually domestic disputes. Mtu amepiga bibi. Okay? So we have to take those off the shelf. Some of them are not falling within our mandate. They go to other institutions. That is why that number goes to half.
Okay.
Okay? And because Mheshimiwa is here and he knows where our budget comes from, he knows what our capabilities are. Even if we have 3,000 reports per year, and EACC has 700, 800 staff, how many investigations can they conclude per year? The normal TOR's investigation manual says 90 days per investigation. Okay? So even if you have all those investigators, it is virtually impossible to investigate 3,000 claims per year. Absolutely impossible. Okay? Now, a lot has been made about the 23 acquittals. People are acquitted even for murder cases. Are you going to change the law on murder? Are you going to change the penal code?
Let's go step by step with what he's saying. Let's not deal with the 3,400 that are relevant to ethics. 1,593 files.
Yes.
Investigations commenced on cases.
Yes.
218 of those are on ethical grounds, fall within the EACC.
Yes.
You forward 234 files to the DPP.
Yes.
Out of the 234 files that you forward to the DPP, this is where now we start getting 78 cases being finalized in that same year.
Okay.
And in that same year of 78 cases finalized, we have 23 acquittals and 1 conviction.
So let's even take those 23 out of 78. Who can do quick maths? What is 23 out of 78? It is exactly a third.
Okay.
Which means a third are acquittals, but the rest are convictions. So we're talking about a conviction rate which is over 60%. I don't know why we are ignoring that fact. That is a significant statistic. We are convicting at a rate of 60%. And mind you, this is in a developing country. In more developed countries, the conviction rates are approaching 90%. Why are they approaching 90% in developed countries? It's because people are engaging in plea agreements. Okay? And that is where we are headed. Sooner or later, we're going to start getting more convictions on the basis of plea agreements. So, again, I said statistics without context. And because Mheshimiwa is here and he has spoken at length about the amendment, the question I have is this. In what way is deleting section 45, 2B and C going to assist? That is the question, and that is what I think Meher should be telling Kenyans.
Okay, so maybe we can establish what does section 45 2A, B say?
Yeah, as we go to that, as we go to what the section says, we are talking about prosecutions under that section. And the convictions under that section, we are talking only one. Okay? The other conviction may be on other sections, different sections within the EACC or Anti-Corruption and Economic Act. I'm domiciled myself under section 45 2B and 2B and 2C.
Okay.
So, and the report I have.
Sorry, Mheshimiwa, I just wanted to be clear on what that section says that you might have a particular issue with before we go to that report, because that is what now is the grounds for this proposed amendment.
The section says, let me read it verbatively. Allow me to just get it. I don't know why it is.
Philip, do you have it open?
Meanwhile, yes, as Mheshimiwa is getting it, again, he mentioned 5 years. One of the things I'd like to point out, and for Kenyans who have tuned in to understand.
5 years about what?
Yeah, you said you've gone back 5 years. Your report, you've gone back to 2018, which is 5 years ago.
Yes.
In those 5 years, because of the efforts of EACC and other law enforcement agencies, Kenya has managed to improve its position in the Corruption Perception Index from position 144 to position out of 180 to position 123.
And we wanted to be number one.
Yes.
That's why we want to repeal these sections, Ratif, so that corruption can be extremely painful in this country. We don't want to be talking about corruption. We don't want to talk to corruption. We want serious action to be taken. We can't be taxing Kenyans, and then that money goes to waste because people are stealing that money, and they are enabled to steal that money because of the laws which are not efficient, effective. Okay? And, you know...
Sorry, Mheshimiwa, I have to ask
let me
again.
say this.
Sorry, I have to ask again. Because we're still... people are waiting
We're
for
on the
this
law.
point.
It is
What
here.
does it say?
45.
That you have an issue with?
It says, Section 45. Here it is.
Can I help you? I have
Section
it.
45, 2B. I mean, 2B, yes, says an officer or a person whose functions concerned the administration, custody, management, receipts, or use of any part of public revenue or public property is guilty of an offense if the person willfully or carelessly fails to comply with any law or applicable procedures and guidelines relating to the procurement, allocation, sale, or disposal of property, tendering of contracts, management of funds, or incurring the expenditure, or C, engages in project without prior planning. What I'm saying here is that in any statute of law, you cannot start mentioning of with any law. What is any law? You also have to define clearly the meaning of carelessly. You also have to define clearly within the definitions of this act or any other statute of law what prior planning means. These three elements have not been defined in any law.
So your problem with what it says is definitions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because now, these ones enables lawyers to argue in court of law to ensure people are not convicted. These are the ones which are used in the court of law to ensure people are not convicted. So and a good case, Edu, you can go to Joe Sang case and others of December 2020. They were acquitted because the prosecution could not be able to define what prior planning means.
So if I can take what you've said, just so that we can string them together. You started this by saying that there's a lot of wastage that's going on because of the prosecution of cases and the investigation of cases. That's where you began. With this amendment, with this amendment then, if these issues are clearly defined, then we can say going to court would make sure that convictions come clear and then money would not be wasted. Are we putting the two together and saying one thing will happen as a result of definitions within the Act?
Yes.
No,
you are absolutely right. And this is what I'm saying. You're absolutely right, Indu. And by the way, he's not the right person to be discussing with me.
Why?
Because he's protecting his job. Me, I protect my job.
Excuse me.
But yes.
That is a very far-fetched allegation which cannot be substantiated.
No, I can.
He works for the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission,
which has seriously failed Kenyans.
Yes, and you work as a member of parliament, an elected member of parliament, in a parliament that, if we were to list the issues we have against, are numerous. So this isn't the forum for you to sort of like eject Mr. Kagusha from the discussion by virtue of the fact that he works for the ethics. We are discussing the issues, not the individual. He's representing ethics and anti-corruption. You are representing a body that is instituted in this country to do certain things. So can we focus on the issues?
Yes.
Can we focus on the issues?
So let's go back to the section 45(2)(b). Let's go back to 45(2)(b).
I was just trying to tie a bit with what Du was saying. It is not that we don't have proper laws. We have proper laws. If you go to Public Procurement and Asset Disposal, section 176, on the conduct of the criminal, on the conduct that is criminal. And then you go to the section, the one we have just talked about of EACC. Which talks about the generality of the way what section 45(2)(b) has introduced. The general law must give way to specific law. Law should be specific. Law should be precise. Law should be should not be ambiguous in any way.
I hear you. So your
and
issue,
section 45(2)(b) and C,
your issue is
very ambiguous.
Is on the technicalities of and the definitions.
Why should you let criminal people who have stolen money from Kenyans enjoy the loot? Why?
That's very true. Nobody should be enjoying the loot of what they've stolen. I want to ask a question, but please answer it after this break. And this is, are there instances in those 5 years of the research that you and your team have conducted where you can actually point out to the fact that people walked scot-free because of section 45, subsection 2B and 2C?
Yes.
Now, please, have those ready. So when you come back out of the break, you start with those ones and tell us, there is this particular case that the EACC investigated, recommended for prosecution, DPP took to court, DPP went through the entire process, and the court said this. And that reason why that criminal is walking scot-free today is because of this particular piece of legislation, and this is why we must amend it so the next time. Okay, very good. That's what we'd like to hear. The Honourable Geoffrey Rocco is the Member of Parliament from Mbeere North. He has sponsored a bill in the National Assembly which is seeking to amend the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act by deleting, let's just call it that, deleting Section 45, 2B and 2C.
Yes.
And he's explaining to us exactly what he means by that. Let's take this break. As we take a break, take a look at the weather and traffic. We'll continue the conversation. Also, Philip Kagusha, who's the Deputy Director of Asset Recovery at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, is our guest.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
I know the sun is out in Nairobi at least. As you tembea, be careful. Manchester United are trying to sign anyone. Watch out where your children are. Please hide yourselves.
Sugar and spice.
I reached a point where suicide things were just going south completely. Something stopped me. It's God now. My mom's prayers.
Join me, Yolanda Mulo and DJ Absolute every single weekday from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock. Sugar and Spice for sugar, spice, and everything oh so nice.
On 94.4.
Nairobi at 14, highs of 22 and lows of 13. We'll see lows of 15 in a mostly sunny Nakuru at 16, and at 14 it's partly sunny in Nyeri, highs of 23, and 24 will be the high in a mostly sunny Eldoret for now at 16. It's sunny at 24 in Mombasa, highs of 29 and lows of 24, and we'll see lows of 24 in a partly sunny Malindi, currently at 24. It's sunny at 21 in Kisumu, highs of 28. 28 will also be the high in a sunny Kakamega at 20. It's mostly cloudy in Kampala at 20, highs of 27 and lows of 18. Partly sunny in Dar es Salaam at 26, highs of 30 and lows of 22. The sun is up in a freezing Johannesburg at 10 degrees, highs of 21 and lows of 3. Mostly cloudy at 25 in Lagos. 30 will be the high and lows of 25. 30 will be the high in a partly sunny Kinshasa at 22.
Spice up your life.
Still heavy. Looking at it coming off Jogoo Road, Landis Road is busy as you get towards the Kamkunji roundabout, coming off Africa Superhighway as well. Beyond KC at the University, then towards Muthaiga Square, onto Pangani at the underpass, and then Muranga Road, getting into the CBD is heavy. Also, coming in from Westlands, James Gishoro crossing over Waiaki Way. Still looking at heavy traffic coming on Kiambu Road in the way from Ruaka. Everybody's joining in from the northern bypass as well. All right, on Mombasa Road, we're looking at traffic veering off, going towards North Airport Road and touching a little bit on the Outer Ring. Where are you this morning? Let us know. Look back in about half hour and see how it's opening up. Threat of a drizzle. That might slow things down this morning. Let's talk Spice FM, KE on Twitter.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Any part of this Republic of Kenya, I'd encourage you to go to your Play Store or App Store and download the 911 Group app. It's important because you basically have a panic button with you wherever you are if you have the 911 Group app. If you are in a situation that requires immediate emergency evacuation, or your vehicle is broken down and require assistance, you just open the app and you raise the alarm, and the 911 Group, they will be able to see exactly where you are from GPS location, and they'll talk to you and they'll dispatch a team to come to your aid. Our guests, Geoffrey Rocco, Member of Parliament, Beare North, and Philip Kagushia, Deputy Director in charge of Asset Recovery at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. We're discussing a bill that Mheshimiwa Rocco is sponsoring in Parliament to delete Section 45, 2B and 2C of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act. Just quickly, for those who may have missed it, this is a section that talks about protection of public property and revenue, ATC. Section 45(2) talks about an officer or a person whose functions concern administration, custody, management, receipt or use of any part of public revenue or public property is guilty of an offence if that person, 2B, willfully or carelessly fails to comply with any law or applicable procedures and guidelines relating to procurement, allocation, sale or disposal of property, tendering of contracts, management of funds, or incurring expenditure, or Section 2C, if that person engages in a project without prior planning. The EACC is not happy about this proposal to delete this particular section of the law, and Philip Kagushia will tell us why. Mheshimiwa, tell us what cases have gone to court and have been thrown out on account of the ambiguity that you're talking about in this law.
Thank you, Ratif. Case number one, you remember the former managing director of Kenya Pipeline?
Yes.
Was dismissed and taken to court with quite a number of others.
Yes.
They went through the court process. In December 2020, the case was dismissed because the prosecution could not define what prior planning is. And today, Joe Sang is back to his position as the managing director of Kenya Pipeline. Two, the Kenya Power and Lighting Company, MD, was also taken to court on the same section. Last year, yes, or early this year, the case was also dismissed. You remember there were some issues on Registrar of High Court, of Judiciary, some years back, because of trying to procure a building for the
Court of
Judiciary.
Appeal judges, yes.
Okay, taken to court, dragged to court for several years. The case was dismissed because they could not be able to get, define some of these.
And this is what the judicial officers said while dismissing or dropping these cases? Did they specifically say, the judicial officers, either magistrate or judge, that one of the reasons why I am acquitting this person?
Let me give you the last one. And actually, I know, let me not say it here. Number two is that Mutua Modosi, the former Director General of Communication Authority of Kenya, was taken to court because there was no prior planning and all this. He was acquitted. Today is a senior person in somewhere in Geneva, and he has gone to court and is demanding 68 million from EACC. So there are many other cases
that have collapsed on account of this 45 2B and 2C.
Yes.
And I think that if when you invited Mheshimiwa, one of the criteria was cases investigated by EACC. None of those cases is an EACC case. And if he has the evidence, he should table it before the people.
The criteria was not cases investigated by EACC.
Yes.
The criteria is the bill.
Yes.
We've invited him to come and discuss the bill that he has taken to Parliament.
Yes.
Now, your response here, Philip, is particularly for these cases.
Yes.
Are you aware of these acquittals, and are you aware of the judicial officers actually citing the ambiguity in law as part of the reason?
No, I'm not aware. In fact, I think the submissions made by Mahesh are quite surprising. Remember, we are focusing on one or two, a handful of acquittals. Why are we not talking about the bulk of the matters which end up in conviction on the same sections of the same law? And mind you, apart from the fact that people are convicted, we are able to institute civil matters for recovery of that money. And just by way of example, if you look at the billions of shillings that EACC has recovered over the last 5 years, and then you start talking about, and remember, anti-corruption law enforcement, the risk of being sued is an occupational hazard. It is there, it exists there. In fact, it is so prominent that we have a budget for it. We have a budget anticipating that you might actually be sued because somebody says they were taken to court unlawfully. There is a budget for those things because the law enforcement, this is an occupational hazard. And mind you, you've seen recently, we were given a budget increment to about 3.9 billion. It is because we acknowledge that these things happen. In the course of investigations and recommending prosecutions, there is a likelihood that someday someone will turn around and say that they think they were prosecuted unlawfully. Okay?
Mheshimiwa has given us four examples. Mheshimiwa has given us four examples.
Acquittals, right? Let's talk about the acquittals, right? The fact that somebody has been acquitted, we do not know for sure that is the only reason that person was acquitted. The reasons cases collapse in court are multivariate. So, for instance, if you don't get the right witnesses, okay? If witnesses die, if records disappear, and you know public offices tend to spontaneously combust when investigations are ongoing. So there's multivariate reasons why cases may be thrown out. There may be acquittals. Apart from that, just because a case has been thrown out, do we know for sure whether the DPP has instituted an appeal or not? We don't know. These are facts which are not there. And that is why I kept saying, talking about numbers without context is very difficult. Some of these cases we are discussing, an investigation may have started 10 years ago. The case may have gotten to court last year. Context. It is very important. The Anglo leasing cases were investigated in 2006. the suspects were not charged until 2016, and today in 2023 the case is still in court. So in which year would you factor that case? You see, so when you use those numbers the way Mheshimiwa has used them, these are numbers without context. And again, to answer your question, Latif, it is not absolutely certain that the only reason those cases were thrown out is because of Section 45(2)(b, and now because there's a proposal to delete it. What is the alternative? Why are we not being given an alternative? Because Mheshimiwa is saying that the terms are unclear. If this was being done in good faith, what the Honourable Member of Parliament would be telling us is, can we come up with definitions for willful, for negligent, for careless, and for prior planning? That is what we would be discussing.
Can we flip the question and say that, so let us say that these 4 words then were defined to the point whereby everybody is satisfied. Would that guarantee now these convictions that are being looked for, Philip?
Not absolutely, because the case could actually be thrown out for any other reason. There's a multitude of reasons why a case could have been thrown out. And as I said, I don't feel competent talking about 4 cases which were not involving EACC.
Excuse me, what do you mean they did not involve EACC?
These are not EACC cases. We did not investigate them. He knows that for sure.
Latif.
Yes.
Let me put everything in perspective again. I now want to go to the report of activities of financial statement for the year 2019-2020 for the EACC, because it's a report which are forwarded to Parliament. And allow me also to go through it. I mean, so that you may not say that these numbers are not... I'm just throwing numbers.
No.
I'm not throwing numbers.
I just said the context is important.
Further, EACC, in its report of activities for the financial year, or year 2019-2020, indicated that it received and processed 6,021 reports on corruption and unethical conduct during the year 2019-2020 financial year. Out of the received report, 2,225 reports were relevant to EACC mandate, representing that 6.9%. Out of the 2,225 reports recommended for investigation, bribery constituted 34%, embezzlement constituted 23%, procurement irregularity constituted 11%. Latif, I'm not interested in the bribery, embezzlement. Where we are is about the procurement irregularities. Okay?
Yeah.
Because as my brother here is saying, the alternative is there. And the alternative is 2. One, public procurement and disposal asset of 2015, which is post-2010 constitution, so it is properly aligned with our constitution. And number 2, public procurement regulatory authority, which is given investigative powers by the Public Procurement and Disposal Act. And it has real-time data on all the public procurement activities going on in each and every public entity in the Republic of Kenya. Real-time data of all the tender activities going in all public institutions and all ministries. And therefore, it stands a better chance to have value for money if we were to allow public procurement regulatory authority to do investigations and to recommend to authorities. Authorities, one of them being EACC, the other one being CID or police, the other one being employer, sorry, the people who are doing the procurement themselves, to recommend to different authorities. So I was in the process of reading this. By the end of the financial 2019-2020, EACC had a total of 620 cases under investigation, out of which 246 were related to ethical breaches. In that period, EACC completed 163 investigations, files on corruption and economic crimes, which were forwarded to DPP for review. How many? 163. So they forwarded to DPP for review. 17 for administrative action and 30 for closure. In the same period, EACC reported 504 pending cases on corruption and economic crimes and unethical conduct pending before the court. One of the cases out of the cases, 6 involved in willful failure to comply with the procurement procedures. Okay? How many? 6. During the year 2019-2020 financial year, 87 cases on corruption, economic crimes, and unethical conduct were finalized in court, out of which 18 acquittals, 30 withdrawals.
18 acquittals, 30 withdrawals.
Okay. 30 withdrawals and 39 convictions. Okay. EACC procured 1 conviction, 1, for the willful failure to comply with procurement law and procedures relating to the procurement of the public property, contrary to Section 45(2)(b).
Out of the 6 cases.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Which were arranged before 2019, before the court. Okay. So, in summary, out of the cases which were 404 because of this section we are talking about, only 1.
What happened to the other 5?
The other were not acquitted. They were not convicted.
So what happened?
There were withdrawals and there were
acquittals and withdrawals.
Okay? So in other words, what I'm saying is, please, let's have law which will make corruption painful in our country. If we follow Public Procurement and Disposal, Asset Disposal Act, and we allow the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority to do investigation because they have real-time data, we will be able to save a lot of money, taxpayers' money, and ensure we minimize corruption activities in our country.
And to ask 2 questions to both of you gentlemen. Let me start with you, Philip. What is the role of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission? What is your mandate?
To combat and prevent corruption through law enforcement, education, public awareness, and promotion of standards and ethics.
Okay.
Yes, and the Anti-Corruption Economic Crimes Act of 2003 was enacted to provide for the prevention, investigation, and punishment of corruption.
Okay.
So when you hear somebody, because it has now come out live on air, that the truth of all this amendment is to take away that function of prevention, investigation, and punishment. What Mheshimiwa wants is that function to now go to the PPRA, the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority. It has just come out here. I think it was a Freudian slip, but it has just come out. So you cannot have somebody who...
No, that's what I'm saying.
You cannot have somebody who is now selecting the investigator and at the same time selecting the punishment. That is the long and short of this amendment.
Now, would you say...
That's what the law says.
Mheshimiwa, would you say, Philip, that the laws as we currently have them enable the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to fulfill this mandate?
Absolutely. That is why we have all these cases in court. And remember, we need to take numbers in context. A case may have been taken to court in 2010. We are in 2023. It may not have been concluded. But if it is concluded this year, it will be counted as an acquittal or a conviction this year. So those numbers have to be taken within the context. So when he says 2019, 2020, that is the year the case was either taken to court or the year it was actually concluded. Otherwise, the rest of the time, it's called pending before court, PBC.
These issues that we talk about now, have they ever been raised by the relevant committees of Parliament?
In fact, because this proposal is going to jail, like, am I right, Mheshimiwa? I think this is a proposal to the Justice and Legal Affairs.
It has already been discussed.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Before that very same Justice and Legal Affairs Committee are a raft of proposed amendments. And which is why I'm saying, if we were operating on good faith, what the Honourable Member from Barra North would have been doing is joining forces with EACC. In fact, this is the first time I've seen us at loggerheads with the legislature about something that we are both agreed upon, that corruption is bad and we're supposed to be fighting it. So if the Honourable Member were coming here in good faith, what we would be doing is looking at the raft of proposed amendments that are lying before the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee and saying, out of these ones, he can support us by pushing some, not by coming to delete some sections of the law, which we have been using to great effect to prosecute cases. And as I said, why are we talking about the acquittals? Why are we not talking about the convictions? And they're there.
I'm just saying one acquittal. I mean one conviction. I'm talking about convictions.
But there are
under
many,
the section.
There are many. You're talking about 1 year, 2018, 2019. You see.
Philip, let me ask you.
Yes.
Has this specific section of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act helped you to get convictions?
Absolutely.
How many?
Rephrase. Dozens, and this is what I'm trying to say. If you take 1 year, and in that 1 year there's one conviction, and the previous year there were 3, the previous year there were 2, cumulatively there'll be dozens of convictions on this section. And let me give you a perfect example. When you talk about, let's use counties, okay, because we know there's a problem with corruption in the counties. Okay,
there's a problem with corruption in the counties. Okay,
it's news, right? So we have a huge problem in the counties. But what happens? You have a tender opening committee. You have a tender evaluation committee. You have somebody who prepares a professional opinion. You have somebody who prepares a contract, and you have somebody who pays. Okay,
right?
Because we know corruption is a scheme. We have these people who came up with the scheme in advance. You have to establish the mistake that was made by every stage, within every stage of the procurement process, so that you can reach the person who holds ultimate responsibility. The only difference is because the people who are here in the middle, the technical evaluation committee, you know, they're technical people within the county government. So they're not necessarily high profile, politically exposed persons like the governors, the senators, the members of parliament, and so on and so forth. They're public officers, and they have a responsibility of a public resource. That is why we had this section of the law. So a huge number of convictions. In fact, in my opinion, it's one of the strongest things that we have, because which is the biggest avenue for corruption in Kenya? It's still procurement. And I think on that we're in agreement with. So if you take away the tool that helps EACC to prosecute, to recommend prosecution of those persons, what happens is that you do not strengthen the war against corruption, you actually weaken it.
Mheshimiwa is mentioning the Public Procurement and Disposal Act.
Yes.
Can you not use that act?
So again, to clarify, these things, there's something called an anti-corruption legal framework. It is a framework. And I think in a previous interview when you were talking with Mheshimiwa, he said it's like a body. You know, this part works with this part, okay? And what the Anti-Corruption Economic Crimes Act says, willful or careless failure to comply with that Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act gives rise to an offense. So it is connected. There is no inconsistency.
Latif, researchers at the Parliament have done a good job. And we are very serious guys in Parliament, extremely serious and very well trained.
Hard-working public officers.
Yes. And, you know, my brother here is talking about huge convictions, you know. Let me put into perspective. 2018, 2019, conviction under Section 45(2) was 1. 2019, 2020, conviction under the same section was 1. 2020, 2021, conviction under the same section were 2. 2021, 2022, conviction under the same section were 2. From 2018 to 2022, total number 6. Okay? I would want my brother to challenge those facts. Let him come to the next session.
No, not next session. I'm right here, right now.
With different...
Our time is up. Right here, right now, our time is up. But quickly, as
just to summarize,
yes.
Again, it is one conviction out of how many? Because if it is one conviction out of one case recommended for prosecution that year, that success rate is 100% for that year.
I can also
no
put...
year where you've only recommended one.
Absolutely.
On average, you recommend, like I've just looked, over 100
Yes, but how many of those are under Section 45(2)(b? So that we can say the ones that are out of 45(2)(b, if there is an acquittal, it is this number. If it is a conviction, it is this number. Again, numbers without context.
Again,
I mentioned
of all the files that you take to court, the ones that are under this particular section are a small percentage. Look, 116 cases taken to court, 6 are under this particular section.
Yes.
1 conviction, 5, either acquitted or withdrawn.
No. Ongoing, pending before court. The cases are ongoing. That is where
So we're saying those cases are not concluded.
No. Please.
Under Section 45,
let's be honest.
How many have been thrown out? Let us be honest. How many have been thrown out?
You know, I have been referring to numbers here of withdrawals, of convictions, and acquittals, isn't it?
Yes.
I was clear about that, but he's trying to go around. There's no need. What generally we are saying is that we need to provide to the laws and to public servants laws which are in tandem with our constitution, so that we can be able to make corruption painful in our country.
To make his work easier.
Yes. Number two, Ratif. As we wrap up.
Yeah.
Number 2 is that we have law in place. We have Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act in place. We have Public Procurement Regulatory Authority in place.
Which these two are connected. They don't work independent of each other already.
You see, Public Procurement and Regulatory Authority have investigative powers. It is in law. Just as EACC have investigating powers. Just as CID, they have investigating powers. Just as Capital Market Authority has investigating powers.
So you're saying
it's not one body. It's not one body.
To another.
It's not one body which has investigating powers in this country. We only say it is high time, because the EACC has been there for 20 years, to ask ourselves, has EACC served Kenyans in the most appropriate way?
Oh, so this
can we be able to? Can we be able?
I think I'm glad the truth has come out. It has nothing to do with 45
Can we be able to strengthen, our corruption fighting processes, so that we make crime painful? Because we want to change this country in another 10 years. We can't be having slums every corner of this world. Of this country.
Can we have this gentleman come again?
We should.
And under an hour where they can actually debate this.
We'll do it for 2 hours.
And ask the public to also come in.
Because it's a very important one. So for 2 hours, education, and then let's get feedback from the public.
But I'm glad the truth has come out. It has nothing to do with 45(2)(b). It's now about taking that power to someone else.
Which has been 45(2)(b) and C, which has enabled Kenyans to lose money.
Okay.
We have to delete that. And we have to ensure the procurement-related issues are investigated by proper equipped body. And that is Public Procurement Regulatory Authority.
Because those ones are better equipped to handle corruption.
Yes. Procurement related, not corruption.
You see, now it has come out. At least it has come out. Now we are clear. The issue is not a section. Yes.
Let's release this fine.
The issue is a section.
Thank you very much.
Which has made Kenya lose a lot of money.
Thank you for joining us today. I will welcome you again for two proper hours with public engagement on this.
Thank you.
Asanteni sana. It's 4 minutes after 9. Good morning.
Spice up your life.
If you go out of this country and come back the same person, then you have a problem. Buy land, 1 million. Put it there for 5 years. What's the purpose?
It'll have increased in value.
No, that's the thing. That's darkness. That's an eclipse. You don't do that.
I hope you don't believe that a hustler is a poor person, or that all hustlers are poor. I've seen that conversation.
Tell us, who is a hustler?
Who's a hustler?
Hustler is a person who is making a living through hard work.
Corruption in Kenya is a political accusation. The people who are actually corrupt are not pointed fingers at.
Kenya is not free. Kenya imeshikwa na mateka. It's under siege.
Have you seen that lodge on Nyeri Road? Very high fence. You can't even
Windows
sleep inside.
up near the ceiling.
Yes. And if you walk there at midnight, you see bats the size of cows.
And when it rains, it doesn't rain on that building.
Yes.
When you're at All Saints and it's raining, it doesn't rain on that building.
The things people will believe.
The city. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay, at a few minutes after 9 o'clock, we're still looking at some of it here and there in the city. Actually, not too bad. Seeping into the CBD, coming from Kiambu Road and then touching on the Pangani underpass right there at Muthaiga Square. But if you're coming off Thika Superhighway, you're fine for now. Westlands is looking pretty good as well. Looking at Langata Road, that's busy as you're trying to get through towards past Uhuru Gardens, out towards Raila Odinga, where you should be all right. It's not looking too bad this Monday. A few minutes after 9 o'clock, let's see what it looks like later. Talk to us on Spice Fam KE on Twitter.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room.
Okay.
The only way to start.
The conversation continues on to the final hour of The Situation Room this morning. Yeah, that was a heated one. We were hoping, we wish we could have had them for a bit longer. The Honourable Geoffrey Ruku, Member of Parliament from Mbeere North, and Philip Kagusha, who's the Deputy Director in charge of Asset Recovery at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Familiarize yourself with that bill, because the Honourable Geoffrey Ruku seems to be getting support in Parliament and in some quarters outside Parliament and all on this Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Amendment Bill 2023. It's a conversation that we'll have with them again next week. Okay, now, have you, as we talk about corruption and all those things, have you filed your tax returns? Because it doesn't matter whether it's a PPPPOA, or the PPP Commission Act, or the Water Bill, you basically have to file your returns by the end of this month. Do you have a PIN number? You do? Then you ought to file your returns. And it doesn't matter. You can just go in and file nil returns. If you're employed and you were employed last year between January 1st, 2022 and December 31st, 2022. That's the person that KRA is talking to. Please go to your employer, ask for the P9 form, use that to file your returns, and you'll be good. If you only got your PIN this year between January and today, it's okay. You don't file your returns this year. Yours, you will start filing from next year. Ni sawa? Yes, sawa? Very good. So let's continue our conversations. It's a budget time, and it's a time when we're talking about everything else. Tomorrow, the finance bill goes to the third reading in the National Assembly. Third reading is the important one, because that is where it is passed with amendments, without amendments, or whatever. Now, finance bill was discussed last week. Yeah. It was a report of the finance committee that was brought to the National Assembly, and the report of the finance committee was recommending adoption and deletion of some of the proposals in the finance bill itself. Members of Parliament voted yes to adopt the report of the finance committee. They did not vote yes to the finance bill. Let's all be clear. So tomorrow, members of Parliament will now be discussing that finance bill and the proposed amendments, where they'll be going clause by clause, and in the end, they vote. That happens in the National Assembly. But we are joined by a senator who is a member of the Senate Finance and Budget Committee. Actually, she's the vice chair of the Senate Finance and Budget Committee in the Senate. The Honorable Senator Tabitha Mutinda Munene is our guest. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning.
Good to have you again here.
Nice.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
This is Kenya's biggest conversation. Mali tulituacha. Tuko hapa.
Bado tuko. Naona mko salama.
Bado tuko hapa.
It is great.
The last time you were here,
yeah,
you were talking about your report of your committee.
Yeah.
And the recommendations that it had on the division of revenue.
Correct.
You took your report to the House.
Yeah.
And members voted to reject your report.
Correct.
Now you'll explain to all and sundry what that means. But to welcome you, City Wamashati is here with a Kenyan shirt and a Kenyan proverb.
Try this bracelet. If it fits you, wear it. But if it hurts you, throw it away, no matter how shiny.
Try this bracelet. If it fits you, wear it. But if it hurts, throw it away, no matter how shiny.
Yes.
What's your interpretation of that?
Life is about happiness. It's about what makes you happy, what makes you comfortable. The struggles we go through, the hustle we go through to make an income, to make a living, is at the end of the day to be happy. So then why subject yourself to pain? So my interpretation is there's no need for pain. Be comfortable. So if the bracelet is too, get what fits you, what makes you comfortable, what gives you a smile, what gives you a laughter, because these are some of the things you won't go to any particular shop and buy a smile, buy a laughter, buy happiness. It comes from you. If the pain is too much, you need to detach from it.
I am not here to suffer.
Yes.
I am not here. I'm here for the soft life. Okay? If sufferation comes your way, reject it. Say no.
I seem to have taken CT into thoughts of the next subject in future.
He's actually looking through all these things in life and wondering.
He's thinking, which one can I get rid of?
I'm dropping them one by one.
Actually, you're actually spot on. And I'm thinking that some of the things that have benefited me the most have not been the pleasurable things, but the things that have caused me pain. They're the ones which have, in the long run, benefited me the most. I've come out of them having gleaned a lot more and probably grown. That's where my mind went to. So you're right. My mind did travel quite a bit.
Good.
And that's the conclusion I arrived at.
Yeah.
Yes.
That no, you don't agree with this.
No, it's not agreeing. You see, Mheshimiwa is talking about her lived experience. And I'm talking about mine. So her lived experience may have brought her to that conclusion, and she would be right. I am talking about my lived experience. And that's what I have gleaned, and that's what has brought me to the conclusion that I have mentioned.
Just to add to that, City, like any outcome or goal which is supposed to be positive, yes, there's turbulence, but it's one thing for you to identify the turbulence or the pain, and it's another to give a solution to the pain, because through that solution, then the end result is the goal that needs to be achieved. And like any goal that is set, it should be a positive goal.
Actually, you're spot on. And my conclusion in that was a lot of the suffering has to do with the way I look at it. My perception of it, or the narrative that I have in explaining it, is what makes it what it is. So if my narrative changes, it also changes.
Things change.
Yes, they change.
It's the fluidity of life. Okay. Senator,
yes.
Let's start with that bit of education. So your committee receives the Division of Revenue Bill. Your committee looks at it, looks at the recommendation therein, and you look at very many other factors. You listen to the public, you listen to counties, and you come up with a recommendation for a different figure. And you take it to the floor of the House, and senators, a majority voted no. What did that mean?
One, there's always a parliamentary process. And that parliamentary process is a process that is not skippable. And like any other committee, we did public participation. We received concerns, adjustments from the different stakeholders that we gave a platform to. And in our wisdom as a committee, then, as I mentioned last time that I was here, is that part of the additional funds that we advised and we included were monies like the medical equipment funds that were costing 5.86 billion, the money for the libraries, and different funds that we felt that apart from the 385, I mean from 370 to 385, there was 15 billion addition.
Yeah.
Then there was other funds that we felt they need now to be incorporated into the equitable share, so that now it gives us 407. And that was our view as a committee.
Yeah.
And like any other process, okay, when the amendments are brought to the floor of the House, then members are, the report is there. Members now do their voting by making their decision. So that process took place because ours is to represent and bring out the report. And they still advised for the 385. What am I trying to say? What I'm trying to communicate is that it was not our decision alone. An indication that even through the what is happening with the finance bill, it is not the chairman's decision alone or the committee decision alone. It is a team that has been mandated to be able to undertake the process. Then it still comes to the floor of the House. So same case to Dora. That is a process that took place. And members felt, no, let us still adjust and go to 385. What were the concerns? Some of the concerns that had been raised were the huge pending bills in these different counties that are there. There's actually 80%, 90% they have still pending bills. And the question that members on the floor were concerned was then why do we still want to keep on adding money? Why are you suggesting we keep on adding money, yet we have issues? We have projects that are still not completed, yet funds had been remitted. We still have pending bills. Then why don't we encourage much more in on-source revenue by these counties, unlike just giving them the comfort of adding them the money? So at this particular time, they felt we've already increased 15 billion. Knowing where we are, those were the concerns, those were the replies. Knowing where we are, so let us see first what they do with the addition of the 15 billion. Then in the next financial year, then we can be able to discuss further. What does this say? This clearly indicates that members still in the House have the final say. And it's them coming together and deciding the way forward. The same way the finance bill is undertaking and is taking shape by it going back, and it's on the second reading, and there are discussions, debate on it, and then at the time that the speaker will decide now to put the question for now the voting part, then that takes place depending on the satisfaction of the members. So Dora took a normal process. I am very happy that as a first-time legislator, I've had an opportunity to be able to participate in this particular bill, which is a very key bill because it's annual. Among others, which I'm happy, as a new legislator, to have given myself time to understand the different bills within Senate. We have the county additional revenue, we have equalization fund, we still have what we call equalization administration fund. These are funds that are for the marginal areas. In a layman language is pale mashinani, like that ka village, because in every county, every constituency, every ward, we still have a ka village.
That is marginalized.
That is very marginalized. Like you go to this, you wonder, are we in Kenya? Yes, we are. So these are monies that are supposed to be able to improve that village. But on 4 areas, the water issue, there's electricity, there's road and health matters. So they are specific, so that this person does not need, like a place like Turkana, you can imagine a mother who's maybe pregnant and all that and has to move kilometers. So this fund is supposed to be able to improve in those 4 areas. We have the county allocation formula that we as the finance does really concentrate and discuss among other funds within the different counties.
So, Mheshimiwa, when you were in the committee, and because you were members of the committee and you had to deal with this particular bill,
Yes.
you interacted with it clause by clause.
Correct.
You listened to the people, so you internalized the bill yourself.
Yes.
Do you think all senators, even by the time it's brought to the floor of the House, internalize the bill? Now, don't answer that because you're a senator and you don't want to say this. Let's say, do you think tomorrow, for example, when 349 members of parliament form a committee of the whole House and they start discussing the finance bill, that all members, from your limited experience so far, all members will have internalized with every aspect of the finance bill by the time they're voting?
It's a very good question, by the way. It's a good question. Members of parliament are the representative of the people. And in our first roles, when we say what is our role, apart from the legislation and oversight, it is a representation. What does representation require you to do? It requires you to be equipped with the information of discussion, information on table. Why do I say like that? I say like that because mwananchi will not come from out there to come into the House and do a contribution. It is me who's supposed to do. Further to that, that is why in Parliament, one thing that I give credit 100% to Parliament is they equip, there's so much capital in terms of the staff. And further to that, even us, we are given staff. Why do we have the staff? Is it because I want to turn like this and you give me a cup of tea? I want to turn like this and you give me a cup of water? It's so that they can be able to help us on our work of representation, legislation, and oversight. Why did I start there? I started there so that to indicate Parliament is so equipped in such a way that we have the digital gadget. Even as much as you want me to skip on Dora, the bill, any bill subject of discussion, is on the soft.
It's actually available on the screen in front of every member.
On the screen, on hard copy, and at any time, we have what we call the library. At any time you need any bill, at any particular time, it is always available. Even in the National Assembly, all that information is there. It is your responsibility to be able to sit down and have a look at it, be able to read it and be able to understand and be able to raise the concerns that you need to raise. Further to that, you can have the legal team coming in and being able to take you through. And I can attest that any time it's a phone call, that's the advantage in Parliament. It's about dedication. It's about putting your time completely. So the question of the 349, will they have time to look? Let's be fair and let's be factual. We are not reading it as a chorus. We are not reciting a poem. We, personally, I have, on this National Assembly, I have everything. I have the information, I have all that is needed, and it's my duty to be able to go through and be able to look at it. Yes, there's the question of then the contribution, the deliberating on the bill. Let me tell you, as we speak right now on our side in Senate, my bill is going on. That is the agricultural extension bill, service, agricultural livestock extension services
bill.
And this particular bill, members are allowed to contribute. What happens in the dashboard of the speaker, if Senator A or Member of Parliament A, B, C, D, they've contributed, so the next, as we finish, because the House closes at 6:30, so the bill is forwarded to the next day. So there is what we call resumption of debate. So the next day, what happens is that priority is mostly given to members who have not contributed. So the ones who have contributed, already the dashboard will show, and so the new members. Until the point that the speaker will see that all members have contributed, there is nobody now who's there to contribute, then he goes to the final part of put the question. Why am I explaining like that? Because there are members who are claiming, there's not enough time, we've not been given time. But did you press the button on time to be given? Did you stay in the house to wait for your turn to be able to speak? The other time, as you clearly watched, National Assembly stayed longer, up to about 10 p.m. Members, you have to sacrifice your time. Diligently being there, trying to make their contribution, make their voices to be heard. And so it is at that particular moment at the end when the speaker will rule and say, now we can put the question, when everybody has been given a chance. And it's at that time when the speaker says, in my dashboard, I still see we have people who are interested to be able to contribute. And because time has lapsed and everything, so the debate will continue tomorrow. If I remember clearly, the speaker in the National Assembly, Senator Wetangula, said that we can even discuss for 1 week. There's no limitation. The only limitation, yes, that is there is the timeline for the bill. That one we agree. But still, there's also the agreement of the time, like every participant or every member can just use 3 minutes to contribute or 5 minutes. So members agree.
So you allocate enough time.
Exactly. Like with 349, and we know most of them have contributed. The other remaining number, you quantify and say, give each member 3 minutes. How many hours do we need? So those hours then can be distributed within 2 days or 3 days, and everybody will contribute.
You can even extend the sitting hours.
Correct, even to midnight.
Like they did
There's
last
no problem.
week.
Up to
so
10
that
p.m.
members can sit longer.
Can
to
sit
contribute.
longer.
So the thing is, there is no excuse for any member to be in that house without having read and internalized any bill, and in particular, this finance bill, because it's important. It's about taxation. Representation without taxation is wrong.
Okay. Senator, the way you've explained this, I feel almost as though we may be living worlds apart, because everything that a member of parliament needs has been given. The situations have been made so conducive that short of somebody reading it for you and then chewing it up and regurgitate and saying, here, please, now all you must do is swallow. So almost as though there's no reason why you should not know all of this. So one will assume, okay, fine, everybody has read it, understood it, been able to consume it, and then it can come out, right? But then we still see that it would appear as though when it comes to the very act of putting your voice behind a vote, that it is not on this information that you should have ingested. It is more along the lines where you fall politically. Why is that always the case?
A very good question. And let me start by responding where I left, at the point of where I've clearly indicated that members normally have equal opportunity. We saw last week that our colleagues walked out during these debates, and they walked out to do what they best do. I don't know why actually you sometimes call me alone, but we should have the other side just there so that they don't feel they're vindicated. But what they do best, the maandamano strategy, is what they continue doing, knowing that very well that is not part of our role. There's nowhere we say representation oversight legislation. We don't say then picketing within parliament. It is, yes, within the constitution, but not within parliament, not within the house. So what they do best, then they go out and start picketing. Why? As you ask, political, to be able to please the political leaders. Let me appraise actually a few members from the opposition who have come out broadly and stated that, for me, I'll do my own personal decision, because it's for me who I talk to the people, and the people gave me that opportunity to represent them. So they've said that they will make their own decision. They will vote. Actually, some of them have said they will vote yes, because they understand. And why they understand is, this is where the difference is, because they've not allowed two groups. One, their party leader, to read for them the bill and give them instructions. They've taken the initiative. They've been able to look at some of the areas. They've been able to acknowledge that this particular sector, which we'll be able to mention, these particular areas, they are okay. They are fine. But these particular areas is where we have a problem. And that is still okay. That is still okay, because it is at the point that you are able to identify a problem, then you are able to put a solution. What is the point of picketing and making noise, and then when you ask, what is the problem? The only thing that is rotating, the one factor, so sad, is the housing factor, which also the media has played part in it. Media has played part in this bill, trying to narrow, but it's until we voiced it out in the different medias that have also been able to be, and said, kindly media, there's no cost of commodity A that has a price for the Western people and that has a price for the Rift Valley people or for the Eastern people. No, all these costs affect all of us as a country, as a people. But now where it is, the media had narrowed it to so-and-so said they're not going to remove a comma nor a full stop. And now we want to narrow the debate to commas and full stops. It's until now, at least end of last week and this week, we are trying to discuss facts. We are trying to tell Kenyans the truth of
You're going
of
into the substance of it.
Exactly,
and what
the
are
actual
these
of
facts, Mheshimiwa?
These are facts of, in terms of, when we talk about this percentage in this, what are we talking about? What is the benefit? What is the disadvantage? Where is the pain? And where is the win at the end of the day? Those are the actuals.
And do you think these things actually matter to the Mwananchi? These facts that we speak of, do you think it actually matters to them? Is it something of concern to them?
It is a very great concern to the Mwananchi, because it's not just about us and chest thumping and deciding this is how things are going to be done. It is for all of us, and that's why I've said the cost of any commodity, like the common commodity like unga, there's no price of unga for me and you. There's price of unga for us. When we go and we're choosing soko, jogo and all that, it's not written this is 100 for city and this is 200 for mutinda. No, it's then you narrow to your preference depending on your cost and your affordability. But at the end of the day, it affects all of us. And this bill affects all of us.
But it affects us differently. Mm-hmm. You see, the clarion call and the pitch that Kenya Kwanza had, and which resonated with very many people, it is argued is what got them elected. It was a platform for making essentially life easier, simpler, affordable. Now, the issue that we are talking about with regards to the bill, when we talk about the facts, do they address the issue that the Mwananchi says is affecting them? Does it make life affordable for them? Does it make the cost of living affordable for them?
Very good question. I hope I'd finished and pointed out where we had really narrowed the discussion of the bill to and all that and all those things. Now to the Mwananchi. Let me state that one of the key things that we did as Kenya Kwanza during the campaign period was to directly talk to Mwananchi. We held what we call economic forums in the different counties. This economic forum focused on the hustlers. Who are these hustlers? The mama mboga, the motorbike guys, juakali, any small business trader. That's where our focus was. And we were able to understand. They were able to share. And it was so nice because I remember I really participated for the Nairobi one, which I represent. And the people who were talking to the then deputy president, the presidential candidate, one-on-one, they were talking with him directly, and he was able also to respond to them directly by getting a feel of what are the main concerns, up and including on Shylock issues, all these Fuliza issues, all these credit manenos and all that. So it is it is at that particular point now we have what we call the experts, the economic advisors, experts who sit in State House as we speak right now, because they also participated in the feedback of what we got from the Mwananchi to the question of the finance bill and the Mwananchi. Okay, now out of sieving and getting to understand the concerns that are in place, let me touch on the common one that has been discussed, the housing. Yes, I have a house. Why do you need to build a house for me and things like that? Why is it 3%? It is high. This and this, this and this. Before amendment, it was capped at 2,500. Before amendment, it was also 2,500, and then the employer another 2,500. So you, as a person, then you end up 5,000. One thing I want to really thank the committee for their work and the time they've put. I really, really want to thank all Kenyans, all stakeholders who have participated in the public participation of the bill. It is so awesome. It's so grateful. Because in their participation, then we are here where we are on the amendments. We've given a platform. And that's why I've said, as KK, we have numbers. But did we chest thump and say, after all,
we have the numbers?
We have the numbers. No, we still underwent the required process of opening it up for public participation. We received amendments. 2 weeks ago, it was sounding like, everybody is rejecting. It was not rejecting, it was amendment. It was proposal. This is okay, this one adjust. This is okay, this one adjust. And that took place.
Are you aware that this is a discussion that you politicians are having in conjunction with the media? That's really not my question.
Yes.
What the media says, reporting, analyzing, what Kenya Kwanza Azimio say, that discussion takes place. We participate by hearing and listening. I'm asking, all these things that you are describing, does it address the problem that the Mwananchi has?
Yes, it does.
Is his cost of living being made affordable? Is he able to live, hopefully, for the next day? Fundamental, does it? The politicians say it's addressing. I'm asking, that's what I'm asking. I'm asking, does the Mwananchi feel or acknowledge it is addressing his problems?
I get your question. And I've always been me in terms of my own views. And state that right now I agree that the economic times are very tough. Mwananchi definitely will be affected. That one I agree. It is tough. We are acknowledging. And as I started, I said, it's until you accept that this is a challenge, then how will you be able to put a solution? We agree right now, Wanjiko, you and me, it is tight. We are at a tight place. But still, we have communicated. There has been discussions of, we said, within 100 days. We are not refusing. Yes, we said, I acknowledge, we said that within 100 days, this cost will have gone down. It is true. Where is the reality? Let us discuss reality. Let us discuss facts. The reality is, when we came to office, when you took office, apparently what we found is not what we expected. That's where the issue is. But did we say, we've come out and said, apparently we found empty coffers. Things are not as we expected. And so we had to change our plan. It's like any like you, and today you get some greener pastures. And in this letter, it has indicated that you're going to be given a 4-bedroom house. You'll be able to move with your family. Your kids will be paid for education, insurance, many other things, blah, blah. They provide you a car, everything. So by the time you're getting there and you have that positivity, then the management says, oops, at this moment, we'll not be able to provide the car and the education. But this other will be able to give us time, because we realize that we have a challenge here. They've been able to, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to readjust and take your kids to the school that will be affordable. Also be able to see which mode of transport will be able to sustain me before I get that. So that is where we are, whereby we've not been able to deliver some of the things, not all, some of the things. And remember, where we are on a long-term based solution and not short-term. We are not, Kenya Kwanza is no longer politicking. We are factual. And that is where the opposition, which I still congratulate them, because they're still doing their oversight, their opposition role in terms of oversighting and being able to look into what the government is doing. There's no problem. The only challenge that they're using is that they're still using the same old one-off mechanism, which is maandamano. We can't subject everything to maandamano. As I said, when you put sufuria on your head, then tomorrow with the cost of unga go down, we have to look at the other factors that bring about the cost of unga being at 200, being at 250, being at the price that it is. Which are these costs? There are other manufacturing costs, cost of production that are behind here.
And those are the ones that are being addressed now.
Those are the ones. And how are they being addressed?
Let's take a break. We'll continue. It's 20 minutes to 10. The Honorable Tabitha Mutinda Munene is a senator. She's the vice chair of the Finance and Budget Committee of the Senate. As we take this break, go to itax.kra.go.ke and file your tax returns. If you don't, shauri yako.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
London Mulu, DJ Absolute. When the gang is together.
Got the sugar, got the spice.
Yorada.
Yes.
I have missed you like hot hamburgers. Yeah?
Like hot hamburgers.
You know, bad boys give more money than you can count.
Hey, bad boys give more money than you can count. If it's fun, it's funky, it's fresh, you're definitely going to catch it here. I don't know what you do every day from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock, but if I were you, I'd tune in to
Sugar and Spice only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
So if you say it's on, then it's on. Yeah.
Okay, at just about 9:30, a few minutes to 10, we're looking at traffic still continuing in most parts of the city this morning. Not too bad, and that threatening drizzle might still happen today and slow things down considerably. But traffic around most parts of the city has dwindled and not looking too bad. Just a little bit left as you come past Pangani, coming off the Thika Superhighway. And we're also looking at a little bit of it coming out of Westlands, but not too painful. The southern and eastern bypass is looking pretty good now. North Airport Road, where there was traffic before, that is more or less gone. And we'll see that Monday then gets on really quickly. Through the morning, still talk to us on Spice FM KE on Twitter.
Business News, brought to you by I&M Bank. Get Kenya's largest unsecured personal loan of up to 10 million Kenya shillings from I&M Bank Kenya.
I'm Dennis Aseto. Diaspora Affairs Principal Secretary Rosaline Njogu has urged the central bank governors from IGAD states to develop frameworks that will make diaspora remittances easier.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi. Business News with Spice FM.
I'm Dennis Aseto. The European Union and Kenya are set to announce a trade deal today as it seeks deep economic ties with Africa. Negotiations for the agreement are due to formally conclude at a ceremony in Nairobi, attended by President William Ruto, his Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria, and EU Trade Commissioner Valdis Dombrovskis. Once entered into force, the Economic Partnership Agreement will give Kenya tariff-free access to the EU, its biggest market, where it sends roughly 1/5 of all its exports. The government is reforming the agricultural sector to expand economic opportunities for the youth. President William Ruto said the government is committed to supporting farmers' increased productivity. He noted that the government has removed tax on livestock feeds to make dairy farming more profitable. The government, he added, would support cooperatives to produce livestock feed locally to tame prices. Transcentury has been placed under receivership of a default in repayment of 4.8 billion shillings debt owed to Equity Bank. A notice on local dailies dated June 16th stated that Muniu Thoiti and George Were of PricewaterhouseCoopers were appointed as joint receivers and managers by Equity Bank Limited. The notice went on to say that the affairs of the company would be directed by the receivers. Google-owned video sharing platform YouTube is relaxing the eligibility criteria for creators to earn from their content through the company's partner program. Previously, a creator had to have at least 1,000 subscribers and either 4,000 watch hours in the past year or 10 million shorts videos in the last 90 days to qualify for the YouTube partner program. Now, the subscriber threshold has been lowered to 500 subscribers with a minimum of 3 public uploads in the last.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Senator Tabitha Mutinda, who is our guest this morning. We're talking about the finance bill and what we should expect from it, as we go towards looking forward to the National Assembly debating this and seeing what amendments will be brought to the floor of the House tomorrow during the third reading.
Yeah, I think also the seriousness with which this is approached is a thing for me. When she went, quite honestly, so last week, I mean, I was appalled. And I said to myself, it didn't matter what side you were on. 92 people not being in the assembly when such an important conversation was being had, for me, is appalling. It doesn't matter what side you're on, but if anything, it shows to the people of Kenya just how seriously this is taken. And so now here we are, and then tomorrow comes another very important day when it comes to discuss some of these matters, and the hope one would go to bed and pray all night and wake up tomorrow morning and hope that folks come back and actually take this as seriously as it ought to be taken. Excuses not warranted, or excuses not even considered of what could have possibly happened. But it goes back to my question, that how do you convince people that voted for you? How do you convince people that you take their matters seriously? Because this is what it is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what side of the political divide you're on. It doesn't matter who is walking out in the streets and picketing and lobbying. It doesn't matter who is on the side of the executive. What matters is that the livelihoods of Kenyans are secured, that the livelihoods of Kenyans are operated within a conducive environment, that people's businesses are protected, that the very cries that Kenyans have on a daily basis then are actually guaranteed for care in that house. But unfortunately, we don't often see that. And that's that we do not. More, brick and mortar aside, all the papers and the legal team who can help you, that's great. But the spirit of representation of the people, for me, I'm sad to say that it doesn't show. It does not show. The people of Kenya who listen on a daily basis, the people who have their eyes peeled the whole day tomorrow, and who are waiting for bills that you have, by the way, waiting for, they're really asking themselves, how do we know that these people are actually there representing us? How? Because the lived experience shows something totally different. It's a cry from Kenyans. It needs to be heard. It needs to be addressed.
Correct. And that's why we are not tiring, and we'll be out here and talk to Kenyans. I want to start by continue by saying, I really do appreciate the Kenyans who have been paying taxes, who are paying taxes, and who will continue paying taxes. Because as our motto says about taxes in Swahili, kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. The question that is here today is also the value that you get after paying these taxes. Is there value? And it is a high time, yes, that any increment in that tax then needs to give mwananchi the value that they deserve. Good roads, good hospitals, and many other infrastructures in it. It is very key. The question in terms of mwananchi themselves, because it is mwananchi who put us here, something we really appreciate and much respect. And through the public participation, they've been able to come out and air their concerns. The question is on how mwananchi is then going to benefit in regards to the communications we've had during our campaigns. Then where is mwananchi today? You realize that, like, for example, the housing part, we've moved from 3% to 1.5%. Away from that, what are the benefits? The major benefits, one of it is job creation during the constructions of these properties and housing. At the same time, there is room for mwananchi to be able to have better living standards of housing. As you know, we have over 1,400 slums in this country. Nairobi is largely affected or has a bigger capacity in terms of our slums. No toilets, no basics, no other social amenities within. And so the solution through the housing plan is broad. There's also going to be a business for the local suppliers, the local manufacturers. The Jua Kali people, they actually have an association, and it has been incorporated by the areas whereby the projects have, we have housing projects like in Shauri Moyo and other areas that the president has already been able to commission. And the people doing the Juakali jobs are able to get opportunity to supply, and then the youths are able to work there. Apart from the 5 other key benefits of the finance, of what are stated in the bill, whereby you are able to own a home, okay, you are able to transfer these funds to pension, you are able to receive the funds directly, you are able to transfer the funds, you are able to conjoin and get bigger property depending. There's the question of, now, is it a fund? Is it a tax? As it is, it's not even a tax, because tax is what then is never refundable to you, does not come back to you.
That's what it has become now.
It's not tax, so. But
actually,
it's money.
Tax comes back to you, Mheshimiwa.
It comes
only
back
indirectly.
through indirectly, through the infrastructures and all that. But this one, you are able to access within 7 years, you are able to access that particular, it's a saving. But now it has been changed and made to sound such that it is a tax to negate and to make it look so painful and negative. Let me talk about food security. Food security, it's very key, can only be achieved through agriculture. What has the bill done? The bill has gone further and exempted tax on fertilizer, raw material on fertilizer. The bill has also exempted the cost of the pesticides. The bill has also exempted things like of course, on the medical side, vaccines in the health sector. We've also seen tax on import tax for commodities like the fish, so that we are able to promote the local, producers locally. So this bill is two-way. There's where it increases so as to benefit now back here the local mwananchi, like the people in Western. Then there people are so much rejecting this bill, not looking at the advantage that they have as far as the cost of importation is being increased, so that people can buy the fish down here locally. So back to the on the issue of the fertilizers, is also in the budget, there's the funds for subsidy for the fertilizer, so that this can be able to help and improve on food security. At the same point, I've been able to say and state, why are we still looking at unga, and more specific, ugali, as the only food commodity that we have in this country?
Because
why is it not the high time to be able to tell our people to expand and get out of the unga issue as the only commodity? We have products like cassava, which we can be able to get unga from cassava. We have even coconut products from the coast. And today, as we speak, we have flour for coconut flour, which is like the one for chapati, the other one. We have arrowroots and many other products that can be able to be, we
agree with you.
Yeah, and we need to diversify, because as I've said, at the end of the day, these issues are all affecting us.
Mheshimiwa, we actually agree with you. The plan, the thinking, it makes sense. It is logical. It would even have made more sense as a campaign narrative. It does. It does. You see, the problems we have cannot only be solved by the government. It cannot be solved only by the politicians. It's a simple fact. They can play a very big role in it. And why I say they can play a very big role in it is, ask yourself this simple question. When something that is patently obvious and the benefits not difficult to explain, when we keep going around it in circles and people are saying, no, 1%, we don't want 1%. Housing, who told you we don't want a house? What makes you think we want? Even if I have a house, I'd like a second house, and even a third one, and even a fourth one. These are good things. We have to ask the question, what are we actually dealing with here? We had the principal secretary in the Department of Housing here. He explained these things really very well.
Yeah.
And as I said, you cannot doubt the logic behind it. You cannot doubt that these things make sense, and you cannot doubt that there'll be benefits. So, beyond the political push against it, what else is the problem? And this is my view. The Kenya Kwanza government came in with a lot of hope and a lot of faith. It had a lot of goodwill from the Mwananchi. That goodwill is slowly being lost. When people lose goodwill, even the loveliest and the most wonderful things when proposed, people will spend more time looking for faults in that thing instead of looking at the benefits that are patent and are obvious. So the question I would ask is, how do you get people to gain the faith they had? How do you get them? Because everything that is being said on the face of it makes perfect sense.
It's a good concern in terms of the people. But you see, one thing that you're missing is what the opposition has come out hard hitting in terms of the negativity. Because they are our people.
Have they come up with any solution themselves?
Nothing. Exactly. Very good question. Nothing. What they've come up is always picketing, and that is what they best do. And why are they doing that? They are doing that so that they can be able to maintain their people. They can be able to maintain their supporters in the regard that this thing is bad. So, that negativity. Why are they doing it? The reason they cannot bring solutions or even amendments, and they have not even participated in that, is so as to maintain their people. The question is then, how are we ensuring that our people are still with us and they're still trusting with us? Yeah. Have you seen any hustlers bringing concerns? The ones who have brought concerns, they have brought concerns to the committee, and we've been able to do amendments. Look at the issue of the content creators. It was at 15%. It's now at 5%. It has been reduced because there is communication. For us, we are still talking to our people, and at the same time, we have reduced the cost, the taxation figures out of the discussions that we've been able to have. So the opposition is maintaining their flock by picketing and making it sound negative in all of them. For Christ's sake, you cannot say that everything in that bill has been negative. Yes, there are those issues that in terms of percentage they were high, but as we speak today out of the amendment, they've been able to go low. Our people, as we speak, the hustlers who voted for us, we have communicated and we have mechanism. Like, look at the gas issue.
Sorry, I have to stop you and ask you. So are you saying essentially that people who voted for you
yes.
do not have an issue with the cost of living or the high cost of taxes, but they're listening to you because of what you've told them? That's the same reasoning that you could put on the other side.
What we're saying, what I've said, I've clearly said that the cost of living right now, it's high. And it's affecting everybody. Even us, the hustlers, everybody is affected. Mm-hmm. And why is it high? It's high because the plans that we had before elections, in terms of changing the things that we should have changed, apparently we found that the coffers were empty. There was nothing to sustain. And this was affected, of course, by the previous regime, which was the handshake government. That is what affected that. So by the time we came, it was not possible to immediately start saying that we are going to ensure that there is unga costing at 100 shillings. That was not possible. And that's why they had lost long-term decisions. The question is, at the moment, okay, things are tough. Then what are we doing? We first acknowledged and said, yes, things are tough, but the solutions that are there, they cannot be short-term. They need to be long-term for us to be able to get the long-term results in future. Because the moment the opposition wants to push us to be able to start sounding like, then we lied. We did not lie. The media is also pushing to say, Kenya Kwanza, you said 100 days. Why have you not? We've tried to explain.
But you're the ones who said 100 days.
Yes, we said 100 days.
You could have said 200.
Are we acknowledging? We could not say 200 because we did not know that this would be what we would found.
Even after you got into office, you've still been telling us, miezi sita ijayo, miezi tano ijayo,
yes.
mwezi wa 10, mwezi wa 11. You know, you're putting timelines yourselves.
Yes.
And when mwezi wa sita comes,
yes.
we say tuko mwezi wa sita,
we remind you.
We remind you.
Yes.
When mwezi wa 11 will come and we'll ask you where is UHC, we'll ask.
Perfect reminder. I don't have a problem with it.
So it's not about media, just...
How do we achieve this? We're going to achieve this by expanding the revenue collection.
Okay.
And this is where we are by expanding revenue collection through taxation. There are two ways of getting funds by the government. Either we borrow through loans,
Or we tax
ourselves. Exactly. But our one of the key goals is to reduce the debt. And the way to do it is through taxing. It's going to be tough. And going back to City's proverb, when you say that the bracelet is really hurting and it's cute, it's beautiful and all that, there's no pain without gain also, on the other hand. It's going to be painful right now, it's going to be tough right now, but it's not going to be permanent. In future, it's going to be okay. And remember, we are just first term. This is the first time for His Excellency William Ruto. And like any other president, of course we would want more, we would want second term.
Time is up.
How can we be able to achieve this? We can be able to achieve this by giving Kenyans what we promised them we are going to give within the time.
Spice up your life.
5 years.
Thank you for joining us today. Tabitha Mutinda Munene, Senator and Vice Chair of the Finance and Budget Committee of the Senate. Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation. It's been an interesting one. See you tomorrow, 10 a.m.
Aseto. Nominated MP John Badi has maintained that the finance bill before Parliament was presented before the appropriate time. He told KTN News that so far, whatever is going on in Parliament is against the law.
My reading of the law is that this is not a finance bill. The finance bill contemplated in law is one where after the Cabinet Secretary has read the budget highlights or the day he's reading the budget highlights and